murders will not be deferred.
But he's just a raggedy man. Remember where you are. This is Thunderdome. Death is listening. And we'll take the first man that screams.
My name is Max. My world is fire.
I salute my Imperator, Furiosa. And I salute my half-life cowboys.
Remember me?
Furiosa!
The darkest of angels.
We have three choices. The coward's choice, the fool's choice, or the warrior's choice.
I mean, where the should I really even start? I got those that I'm keeping in the dark. I got niggas across the street living large. Thinking back to the fact that they dead, thought my raps wasn't facts, so they sat with the bars. I got two phones, one need a charge. Yeah, they twins, I could tell them apart. I got big packs coming on the way. I got big stacks coming out to save. I got Lil Max with me, he the wave. It's a big gap between us in the game. In the next life, I'm trying to stay paid. When I die, I put my money in the grave. When I die, I put my money in the grave. I really gotta put a couple in their place. Really just lapped every day in a race. I really might tap till it's on my face. Lil CC, let it slap with the bass. I used to save with a mask in a cave. Now I'm like, nah, love, I'm good, go away.
Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody doing? Welcome to this good old Mad Max Live, y'all. I hope everybody is coming in and feeling good. Hopefully everybody that is here has had the chance to see Furiosa. Though this live is more so geared towards Furiosa, I didn't feel like we could do that film justice in discussing it and not talk about all of the other films in the trilogy. But if you are just getting in here, remember to show love, hit the like button, not just on my platform, but on all the platforms that we are streaming from, myself and my guest included. But you guys know how I am. I am not one at all to waste any time. I'm going to bring the folks out because y'all not just here to see me. I got some men's here. I'm excited. I got some men's here, y'all. I have an all male panel. I'm so proud of myself. Look at the growth. Now, of course, I have to bring the OG out first. Goated first. Just hit 50K first. Really, really proud of him and all of the accomplishments that he has made so far. You guys give it up and show love for my A1 Day 1, Brandon Keith Avery. Hey.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anytime, I know how hard you be working over there. So when you was like, yeah, I'm gonna be there, I was like, I have to catch you while I can be. But I appreciate you. Congratulations on hitting 50K. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm still waiting on that 50K. Are we not supposed to see your collection? Yeah, we supposed to see all your DVDs and Blu-rays, everything.
You're right. That is, I can promise it to you within the next few weeks. We're gonna set a deadline at the latest, the end of June. At the latest, so give me about 3 or 4 weeks at the latest, and y'all gonna have more collection.
Okay.
Here's a little preview right here. One of them I got the 2015 Mad Max on 4K. So there you go, right there.
Well, before I bring out my second guest, B, I would like for you to tell me and the audience, which of the Mad Max films have you seen?
I have seen, of course, this one right here, Mad Max Fury Road with Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, came out 2015, and the one that's in theaters right now, Furiosa, the Mad Max Saga, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the first three. I wanted to get around to it when Tyra introduced it to invited me to the show earlier this week, but my schedule was really busy, and I've never even heard of the first three films until the 2015 version. When this was announced, like, what is the big deal? All these people are so excited about this new Mad Max movie. What is all the hype about? And I found out that this was a franchise that came out before I was born, but I never took the time to go back. So I've seen the last two, not the first three, but me joining your live panel today, hopefully you guys can get me excited enough to go back and revisit it. And I think I'm gonna feel that way by the end of this. So, you know.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan B. Me myself, like I've always been a fan. I'm an action girl. I don't do a lot of it on the channel because I know what y'all want to see. But deep down, I love me some good action. And as far as trilogies or just movies that like it's this franchise, it's the Terminator franchise, the Alien franchise, and Kill Bill. That's my top right there. So I have seen and have loved all of these films for a very long time. So when I saw that Furiosa in them was popping out and we had a new Max, it was like, I wonder where they're going to go with this. And it was just absolutely amazing. But I have seen all films. But of course, once again, I am not here by myself. I got some mazes here, y'all. I'm excited. D has been holding me down for a minute. He has been a massive, support in my journey. I am so happy to have him here, and I am so interested to know what he thinks about this film. I have not watched anybody reviews or anything to know what they feel like, but I'm going to go ahead and bring him out, the man with the plan and everything. If you're looking for that Bridgerton, I'm gonna tell y'all to go over there because he be getting it done. all of those good shows and everything theater and etc. D is always on top of it. Coming to the stage, Mr. D Movie Man. Hey D.
Hey everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Tyra. It's always a good time on camera and off. And
Yes.
yeah, definitely excited to chat with you once again.
Absolutely. D, how many of these Mad Max movies have you actually seen?
So I've technically seen all of them. I've seen the first Mad Max, I've seen Road Warrior. Thunderdome is where it gets dicey because I was struggling with Thunderdome, and I've seen it, but I haven't seen it. Like I haven't seen it in its full summation, but I've seen it. And then I saw Fury Road, not necessarily in that order, but I also saw Fury Road and then now Furiosa. So I've technically seen all, but Thunderdome is the only thing I'm missing probably some additional context on.
Absolutely. I'm here for that, and I'm a second that motion for Thunderdome. it gets a little cute and a little tricky around the time we get to the third installment, but this is one of the film franchises that I can rely on to just really have consistent movies all the way through. Even though Thunderdome is a little iffy, it's still a pretty decent film. But not y'all coming with the super chat. Y'all know how I feel about super chat love. Thank you so much, my sweet perspective, for the $9.99. I know that's going to be amazing. We appreciate all you do, Tyra. You know I love you, Ashley. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the love. And y'all go check out my sweet perspective also. Once again, my family is showing up with love. You guys already know how it goes. Y'all know my slides already, all my good things already. So if you do want your comment prioritized, attach $1 to it, honey. Keep it cute. Keep it cute. King Nikki TV is in the house with the $5 super chat. Love Fury Road. They should have never cast Anya Taylor-Joy to follow up Charlize Theron. They set not that little girl, Nikki, that little girl up for failure and ridicule. Y'all check Nikki's channel and you want pure unadulterated honesty. She always gonna serve it up. Thank you so much, Nikki. Shout out to the little girl. Now you guys, we are waiting on Paulie from the Latino Slant, so we will greet him with warm welcomes whenever he decides to get here and maybe backtrack as little as we can to include him on anything that he may have missed. But we are not going to waste any time. We are going to move all the way into what we came here to talk about because I'm excited. I have never been able to talk about this franchise with anybody. I was so surprised at how many people that just had not seen it. Now, this question, like low key, pretty much answers itself really easily, especially for B. Of course, all of these films are directed, in company. Oh, he is in the house. He said, I ain't missing nothing. Y'all, I gotta take this off. My man's is here. My man's is here. Paulie said, you said what? Somebody said my name? Coming all the way from the Latino Slant, where all things are Latina and more. Show some love to the man with the best mustache and all the best hats in his collection. Paulie is in the house. Paulie, are you ready to come on in? Big cock the hat. It's muted, Paulie.
Hey everyone, hello panel, Brandon, hello D, movie man, hello chat, hello lovely Tyra. What's happening?
Are you ready to go? I just put you on here. I'm ready for you to get in here because I know you got all the tea. Backtracking to the questions that I asked our other members here, Paulie, how many of these Mad Max films have you actually seen?
All of them. What are you talking about? I grew up on them. I'm very old. So I'm going to tell you right now, my first experience was seeing Road Warrior. It was just called The Road Warrior.
Yeah.
With my dad in the theater. I was 11. My dad was so cool. He took me to all the best cool movies back in the 80s. So I'd never seen any, obviously never seen any, there's never been anything like it. And that's why it's so seminal. And then moving forward, we were like, oh wait, this is there's another one. And so that Mad Max at that time had an American dub on it. I don't know if you've ever seen it with the American dub. And I've seen it with its Australian language, like it's Australian accents.
I prefer the Australian.
Totally different films, but yeah, no, I talk about the Tina Turner one. We talk about Fury Road, and then this latest one. Oh boy.
Oh man, hold it, Paulie, hold it. Yes, oh boy is definitely a good word for this latest one, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say. But I've always loved the fact that all of the films in the franchise has always been really contained. Nobody has stepped in or down to write on the script or direct the film. It's all been George Miller. D, I'm going to come to you first. Which one of these is the favorite, and which one is your least favorite out of the franchise?
Oh, that's hard because it's a toss-up probably between Road Warrior and Fury Road. I'd probably give a slight edge to Fury Road just because it's the film that brought me, that was my introduction to the franchise. It was such a visceral, thrilling, unexpected experience because going in, I love that. I have a thing about trailers, and I think that first, I don't know if it was the Comic-Con trailer, but the trailer for Fury Road, when trailers are well made, they stick with me, and sometimes they can be my reason for seeing certain films. But I still was like, okay, all I see is cars, driving, oil, sand. Yeah, so we'll see. But walking into that theater, I was not prepared. And when it was over, I was honestly blown away. So I would have to say that definitely stands out. Even though Road Warrior is very close, but I have to give it to Fury Road. And
your least favorite here?
Well, it'd probably be the one that I couldn't bring myself to finish, which is Thunderdome. Oh, well, you know what? No. Technically, it would be Thunderdome, but I will give Thunderdome credit for at least having Tina Turner in it as an entity, because the first Mad Max, I got screwed over watching that one, and it was so not what I expected, especially after Fury Road. And I understand I'm not expecting it to reach that level, but what I was expecting from Mad Max, and after seeing that, was not what I expected. And then the synopsis and what I was led to believe about it, it kind of ruined the experience. So probably have to give it to the first Mad Max, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. I think
he threw it down. Okay.
I've never met anybody who has seen these in order. Like, the first one I seen was in 1970. Everybody's kind of seen them out of order. I know for myself, my least favorite at this moment is definitely going to be Furiosa. My favorite one, just because it was my introduction into the franchise, is The Road Warrior. That's my favorite. B, I'm going to come to you. So you could, I guess, tell us, your feelings between Fury Road and Furiosa. You muted me. There we go.
I'm tripping. Yeah, I will go ahead and say Furiosa, kind of like you, is my favorite, the one that's in theaters right now. I had high expectations going in just from the second time I saw Furio from 2015 and all the buzz that I heard from people that saw the film super duper early. I was able to see it in one of those premium theaters. It wasn't IMAX or anything, but it was one of the AMC Prime theaters, and I was really blown away from the sound. Pretty much everything. Furiosa was one of the better films that I've seen this year in 2024. The only thing that's beating it right now or in close competition is Dune 2 and also the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. But I was smiling from ear to ear with this film from across the board with the sound design, the shots, the close-ups, you know, the cinematography and just how detailed everything was and the way all the action was choreographed. Like, you know, in Furiosa, that 15, 20-minute action scene in the middle. Seriously? Like, it took them, I think, like 200 days or 200 people over like a month and a half just to film that one scene. And I was just looking to my left and right in the theater just with excitement because I wanted to geek out with the people that was right next to me without disturbing them at the same time. I did disturb somebody to my right, but I knew him personally, so it was all good. But man, the only thing I didn't like about it was the ending. The third act kind of slowed down for me, and we can possibly get into that later. But the first one, or not the first one, this last one, Furiosa, was my favorite. And since I've only seen the other one, Mad Max, I guess that's my least favorite, which I have right here. The first time I saw it in theaters, I did not like it until maybe the third act. I just didn't know what was going on. You know, I didn't understand.
I'm trying to contain myself. You better stop.
I remember in the theater just like, man, this is so hyped up.
I mean, what a panel.
You know,
what a panel.
You know, this is not for me. You know, people are just running around, you know, lack of water and gas. The picture's going crazy. But I mean, we this came out years ago, so we can talk spoilers, I guess. But I think it was when it was revealed that the women were in the car or something. I was like, oh, that's the point. And it kind of won me over. But the second time I saw it, I ended up liking it much better than the first time. So I'm not saying that it's a bad film. I guess I just didn't know what was going on, or I was sleepy or something the first time around. Still a great film. But it's my least favorite out of the two.
It's my chest. Hold on, let me get this super chat real fast. Thank you so much, Lauren Francisco, for the $5 super sticker. We really, really appreciate it. I will show you guys some love for all of this super chat up in a second. My chest out. So from my understanding, before I give it to Paulie, you are placing Furiosa above Fury Road.
Correct.
All right. Paulie, same question for you. Which one of these films is your favorite in the franchise, and which one is your least favorite?
Well, first, we have to practice Zen patience and not attack our fellow panelists because, you know, it's all about love. That's what my gurus tell me. But we try my patience. Okay, favorite, The Road Warrior. There's no question. There absolutely is no question. I mean, it is the perfect action film. The first and second and third, you know, the acts and the characters and
perfect.
The perfect villains. I mean, again and again, we've never seen anything like it before. Sure, Fury Road is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's great, but we've seen it before, and from the same filmmaker. Miller's like Lucas, man, with these post-apocalyptic things, but also too Mel Gibson.
Yes,
there is no Mel Gibson. There is really no Mad Max. Tom Hardy was fine. It is a great action film, Fury Road, and Thrawn she was amazing. But for me, Road Warrior, I don't know if we're doing the other ones, but that's the top. And maybe it's because I did see it in the theater as a kid, but you know, I recently saw them all again, and they all have a place in my heart, just like Tina Turner does. I mean, that first hour Thunderdome was perfect.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it has a second hour.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Yeah, if I wasn't introduced via not that Road Warrior is a bad film, not at all, but if that wasn't my first introduction, it just really got me into the love for the franchise. If I had to pick, and it's kind of easy to separate and put Fury Road and Furiosa off to the side and be their own entity, it would definitely be Fury Road for me. But your least favorite, Polly?
My least favorite, Furiosa, without no argument.
Oh,
no argument.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Storytelling mess. Disaster.
Polly, be cute. Really? Oh my God.
Just complete. I called it in my review a successful failure.
Oh Lord. We knew how we even came outside. Yeah, we still on the porch.
hey, we're us Mexicans, we work outside. So on the porch, we're getting into it. We're doing stuff.
But being your least favorite, would all of y'all agree that Thunderdome with Tina Turner is at the bottom of the list too, or no?
I would still put Furiosa at the bottom of Thunderdome.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah,
oh gosh,
okay. I can't wait to get to these slides. So
Thunderdome has a lot of redeeming qualities, and besides the final act, Thunderdome is
pretty good,
really good.
Yeah.
And Thunderdome also too was the first time that Miller went Hollywood. He had American actors, he had Tina Turner. Up until then, all his films were very Aussie bound.
Yeah.
And then he went on to have a successful, Happy Feet and Babe. So but yeah, beyond Thunderdome, I mean, just the whole idea of fighting in Thunderdome. I mean. So Furiosa. Okay, I'm gonna stop. This ain't my stream. I'm gonna stop.
No, go ahead and save it, Paulie. We have 3 of the first movies to get through. So any opinions that you have to share right now on Mad Max would be greatly appreciated. A lot of people surprisingly just have not seen these other 3 films. I've been really surprised. I just assumed everybody was watching them with me, but I can't even understand how anybody could really. I guess you could say that Fury Road is it could be a standalone film and franchise all in itself. So it's easy to maybe get into those and not see these. But seeing these first 3 films, it would really get you into the fine detail and have a better understanding of Fury Road and Furiosa in the journey that we go on with Mad Max. For the first movie, for me, we get to really see what drove him insane. We get to see, what happened to him, things that were taken away, his partner, his child, his wife. And you really get into Toe Cutter. Toe Cutter is just the most underrated little psychopath for me. I loved him. And the fact that he returned to play Immortan Joe in Fury Road, I thought that was amazing after being away from the franchise for so long. That's what really got me into just the film, because I didn't know any of the characters. I was like, I don't know who Tom Harden is going to be, like what's going to be Mad Max film without Mel Gibson. It's just been him for so long. So he was really my draw here. But just getting into him, we get to see just the first real villains. And they're amazing for me. We really get into the car. The car is so important to the Mad Max franchise, the V8 Pursuit special vehicle. We get to see that firsthand and where that came from. And we really get to see just the breakdown and the dystopian beginnings of this town just pretty much unraveling, and these biker gangs slowly beginning to take over, and just law, just completely civil rights and just everything disappearing, and it's just debauchery and mayhem. And you really get to see it escalate from, part 1, part 2, part 3. So if you would love to get into the franchise, or just into Max's mentality and what's his motivation, I think it's the best to watch this film. Dee, I am going to come to you. How did you feel about the first? You elaborated on it a little bit in the beginning, but did this film do anything for you that you feel like was fortunate?
Yes. Like I said, I think the unfortunate part is that I was a little misled and kind of tricked into what this was going to be. And sometimes the way your expectations are shaped can kind of affect how you experience a film. So I would say what I found most interesting now, because I was trying to figure out, why does everything look so, so normal? I'm expecting, where is the world of sand and blood and all of this? And I was kind of lost to begin with. Now, stepping away, kind of circling around after the fact, what I appreciate about it is that we don't normally see that kind of dystopian take on society. We either see everything's fine, everything's normal, or wasteland.
Outbreak.
Extremes. And so I do like that it's slowly showing the breakdown of what's happening, and just how, and basically kind of setting the stage for the future that's about to come. And I appreciate that. I think Mel Gibson, of course, it was so interesting seeing this as his introduction.
First big film.
Yeah, big thing, because my introduction to Mel Gibson was in the 90s, Pocahontas, Ransom,
Lethal Weapon.
Right, Lethal Weapon, like that was, so this was totally new for me. Didn't know he was Australian, none of that. So circling around and appreciating, like you said, the toe cutter, and then how that tied into Fury Road with Immortan Joe. So yeah, there was a lot I enjoyed from that standpoint, but I didn't appreciate it until after the fact. And as far as the synopsis piece, the synopsis says and spoils the story by saying that this man goes rogue. It's a revenge story. What happens when this man, his family is, killed, destroyed, and he takes revenge. Well, I was waiting. I'm thinking the story, that's the bulk of the story. So I'm kind of like, okay.
Take the time. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn.
Yeah, like what's going on here? And it was literally at the end, which again, I'm not saying I'm just rooting to watch someone die, but if I'm thinking that's the crux of the story, then that ruins everything. So that's kind of where I got screwed as far as the experience of it. Although I think looking at it now, I have more appreciation than I did before. But it's just that first experience kind of got ruined, unfortunately.
Thank you, D. Shout out to the 71 people here in this live. Keep showing love. Keep hitting that like button so we can get more engagement and more people in here. I appreciate it. Polly, what did you think about the first Mad Max film?
Yes, really quick too. Live on my channels as well. So all the Slantinos, I'm gonna start putting up links to everyone in the panel. So make sure you guys subscribe and support all these wonderful people on this panel. My first time, big fans of just my opinion. So I was just really it's a pleasure. And then my first time with D Movie Man. So I just wanted to say that before I rip into their hearts and souls as far as their really bad takes. Now listen, Mad Max, I mean, it's a product of the 70s. And for that, there's just certain production things, as far as it look and feel, you have to just buy into. Once you do the buy, oh my God, what a great story. I mean, who doesn't love Goose? I mean, Goose was so cool, man. And like you said, you had the Knight Rider, the toe cutter, and then that annoying sniveling dude that just always got away with stuff.
Yes.
And what a nasty ending he had, which wasn't nasty enough. But really, you got to see no Mad Max, no other movies, right? You got to see Max Ratajkowski lose his family, lose his mind, go from lightness to dark. I think we can all relate, I really don't have much else to say. It's a very strange film as well, because it's kind of emotionally horrific, a little bit of thriller, a little bit of that, that road action. So it's really different, and it's George Miller's really first big feature. I think he did another indie feature, but this is really his homage to Hollywood action films. Miller is a huge Hollywood cinema fan, still is, but this is where he got to put all his powers together. I mean, they did it for Peanuts. They were gonna go with an American actor, and then that didn't work out. And thank God, Mel Gibson took this. The way it worked out here in the States is that year from 81 to 82, we were introduced to Mel with The Road Warrior and a movie called Year of the Living Dangerously, which was like this sexy, sultry, romantic thing with him and Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hunt. And that really got the ball rolling in America audiences. Who is Mel Gibson?
So
by the time Beyond Thunderdome came, he was already bona fide. People went back to see this film, so you know, he had a couple of odd Aussie films with his thick accent. So, so yeah, no, I really dig Mad Max. It has a very strange place in my heart.
And see, B, as I am going to be asking you for our next 3 films, would you have any interest in watching this film from what you've heard?
Definitely, based off everything you guys have said and these wonderful slides you have, because watching the 2 that I've seen, you know, it's just a fight for resources and power. But I've always been interested in, okay, how did this start? You know, what was the beginning? Are the first 3 films just a repeat version of the last 2, but just in a different location? I don't know. But looking at your slide here on the bottom right, I don't know who that is. Is that Mad Max with this head on the forehead
That's
of the
wife? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Mel.
Okay, so I'm assuming, you know, he had a wife, a family, and you know, he possibly lost him. And that's maybe what made him go crazy and not give a crap about anything. I want to see that. You know, it's a post-apocalyptic. The world has gone to crap, but it just looks like everything was somewhat organized at a time. You know, I mean, you have this one woman right here with a baby, you know, scared out of her life with bikers behind her. So I'm like, are they kill the baby? Or are they gonna, like, how ruthless are these people? You know, and so
yeah, as hell.
I mean,
in the ones I've seen, so I'm really interested now to see how all this kind of pops up.
I think it's worth it, B, because this is just right beyond him. Everybody just pretty much going rogue. Mad Max is a part of the last living set of like minuscule law enforcement that is in the city. It's him, and they, of course, they're draped in leather, but they are, you know, pretty much the police, and it's just descending to, you know, we're about to be just as lawless as the criminals because you have to meet them where they are. It's just a terrible situation. You just see the descent about to happen. Cool. Go ahead, Paulie, before I go to the next slide.
Yeah, really fast. George Miller was inspired by, there was like a 10-day embargo,
an oil shortage
in Australia of oil, and people lost their minds. So he's like, well, if it was just 10 days, what happened? What would be like
10 years,
30 days, 60 days. So that was the start of this, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, I think that's all I ever know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the road, the collisions. It's just the start of just not only just the fight for resources, but the main thing was oil and gas. And you would have these people, these biker gangs, they're just beating up and killing people to steal their gas. It's terrible.
Drug paid the extras in beer in the first film. I thought that was interesting.
Yes. Thank you, King Nikki, for the $5. Once again, Fury Road is one of my favorite action movies of all time. That movie is amazing from top to bottom. I had no interest in Anya Taylor-Joy in the franchise. You ain't gonna let her live, Nikki. Thank you so much, Nikki, for the $5 super chat. Oh, Nikki said absolutely not. But yes, getting into my favorite, because this was my introduction, I was like, oh, I'm watching every single one of them moving forward because it has one of the best chase action scenes, period, to me. Humongous Gang, Lord and West, Gyro Captain, Feral Kid, Oil Compound. I love this movie. I feel like this is where everything really came together. And I feel like as far as Furiosa and really Fury Road, I think the footing, like the layer of footing of Fury Road, or just the legs of it, the bare bones of it, came mostly from part 2. You see the most similarities, in my opinion, between this one and Fury Road. I love the little BDSM freak nasty leather gang. I love that. I love, you know, all of the homoerotic type of undertones with the gang, and, you know, all of the barbaric behavior. And I love the oil compound with these group of people still trying to pretty much hold on to civilization. I love the gyro captain, but this is just pretty much Max leaving salvation completely and trying to avoid all human interaction overall because he's lost so much. And it's the push and pull between if he's willing to sacrifice for someone else and him be who we know him to be, just straight up a lone wolf. But we have really good villains here. And once again, the action, the chase scenes are just phenomenal. And I just see so much Fury Road in this film. Polly, I'm going to come to you first. How do you feel about Mad Max 2?
The Road Warrior, Mad Max 2, yeah, it's everything. I mean, it was you know, it has such a strong identity, right, with each character and relationships, and where they're so well done, they're so well written. The Gyro Captain is so memorable. I mean, Bruce Spence was in Thunderdome as well, but I mean, in humor, in odd places, I mean, yeah, and I mean, humongous. These guys were sexy and just
Where?
Out of their minds, sexy. You know,
Polly, where were they sexy?
Listen, man, you know, Vernon Wells comes rolling up with his boyfriend on the motorcycle. I mean, that was pretty risque in 81, man. I was just like, whoa, is that a dude? Is that a chick? What's going on? And, boyfriend just had this long flowing blonde hair. Okay. You know, he had a bad ending in that movie, but listen, anyways, I digress, and then the people from the oil rig town, right? The people that want to have this plan. These guys are the last hope for civilization in a way in this story, which is wonderful. And again, Mad Max has a big heart, and we see that. We see that through every film. Which is always his demise because he's always left out in the dust at the end of each movie. He's literally left out on the dusty road by himself. So, anyways, that's what I got.
D, what about you? How do you feel about Mad Max the Road Warrior?
Yeah, so like I said, it's weird. So I think in the same way, I think it was the opposite effect of seeing Fury Road than watching Mad Max. It was the opposite this time around. Whereas that shifted my expectations, and then external circumstances shifted my perspective or my expectations in the wrong way. This kind of did the opposite because I was like, okay, I'm not sure what to expect after watching the first Mad Max. So then going into Road Warrior, I was like, oh, okay,
this is where we're supposed to be.
Yes. Like everything suddenly clicked into place, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then even seeing it from and like I said, Fury Road is definitely enjoyable, but just I think especially as we continue on, I think we just become more and more appreciative of just the grounded, practical, gritty, in-your-face nature of how films were made, the further back you go. And I think that's something also that Road Warrior has, just the way in which it's made without, it's still some thrills and bells and whistles there, but not quite to the extent that Fury Road is. But that's why I enjoy it. It's a different perspective. It's a different focus. And then we also see the journey of Max from that experience, who he was, the world that he was still a part of. And now he is kind of fighting to kind of, in a sense, maybe reclaim his identity and kind of trying to figure out now who is he in this new world, in this new civilization, and what it means, what he ends up having to fight for in the end. And the way all that came together, I thought was perfect.
It was great. Civilization getting increasingly worse. So what I could always appreciate about the franchise, we always had really good villains. every single film in this franchise has really great, memorable villains. B, are you interested in watching Mad Max 2? Please, if you love Fury Road, please check this one out at least.
Yeah. We got my man up there on the top right. We got Jason that's been coming from the gym with the guns. Girl's hair down here at the bottom. I don't know if she's happy or going crazy or both. But
wait, hold on. Which one? Bottom right?
Yeah, bottom right. She's looking.
That's a boy.
That's Pharaoh. He's a little
that's
mute,
Feral kid.
boomerang slinging menace.
Wow.
It's called the Feral Kid.
Okay, well that's what's up right there. I tried to practice that when I was child. It didn't work out too well. I always got stuck in trees and stuff. But no, real talk. I'm being silly, but I'm serious at the same time. I am interested in this, you know, and I'm getting the vibe. The poster here, Mad Max 2. It just reminds me of Tremors. And I love that movie as a child, and it just looks like a Tremor, but a truck at the same time. But I'm loving all this armor and this gear that everybody has on these shoulder pads.
Yeah.
I really want to see what our dude is doing with this gun here, with the pistol with the scope on it. Like real talk. It's quite interesting. So this one and D Movie Man, this one is better than the first one. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And I understand, like I said, it's also been shaped by my circumstances. So you may feel a little bit differently after this discussion, but yeah, but leaps and bounds. Even if you do enjoy the Mad Max, like Road Warrior is the magnum opus.
Because
you haven't seen Road Warrior.
Me? No, I haven't.
No, B has only seen the Fury Road and the Furiosa. He hasn't seen the first three films.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Now I see why
we're trying to convert him to go watch him.
Well, listen, they're all on HBO Max right now. Really good copies there. And you know, Furiosa, Fury Road, they're copy and paste times 10 of the Road Warrior. So
I feel you.
Right, but this is all practical effects, like D Movie Man said. It's all practical effects.
Everything. This is the first time we get anything resembling like the gangs having distinctive looks of their own. The oil rigs. The cars being distinctively with all the bells and whistles on. This is the first time we see any of that, or just something like the gas towns or the compounds, and people still trying to hold on to certain qualities of civilization before it's just completely gone, or any semblance of anything before it disappears and disintegrates further and further into the franchise. Let me read this super chat. Anything else, Paulie? Go ahead.
No, you said it really good. I mean, and it's also the first time when you're referencing where they're at in the wasteland, which is like that secluded middle section of Australia. Pretty desolate. Yeah, fantastic.
Two things real quick. I have heard, commenting on what you said, D Movie Man, I have heard from a lot of people that the first one is kind of hard to get through, but part 2 is much better. And Paula, you saying that everything in the first 3 is practical. Is there really is there a bunch of CG in the last 2, Fury Road and Furiosa?
Furiosa was CG bound. What you talking about?
Okay.
Well, CG and volume. The volume, you know, like you could tell.
Okay.
You know, I did commend Fury Road was a lot more intertwined with practical.
Very well. Great.
That's why it won so many awards. Yeah, I mean,
I can see why you feel that way. You know,
it's amazing.
Okay.
That was amazing. Thank you, Kay, from the fifth wall with the super chat. I ain't gonna hold you, but I love seeing people of color talk about apocalyptic films. Thank you so much, Kay. We love it too. We representing all of the. We got all the colors on this panel. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Kay, for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate it. We got one more down here at the bottom. We have a super sticker. Oh, how do I say that? In Polly?
What's up? What? Okay.
I'm Josie. Thank you so much for the
Josie. Gracias.
Thank you so much for the $1.49 and the super sticker. We absolutely appreciate it. But yes, moving on to Thunderdome.
Really quick, I had a super chat on my side.
Did you, Polly? Let me go on down here. The comments are flowing in. I love it. Oh, go ahead, Polly.
Graph Web for $2 said for F's sake, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Thank you, Graph Web. That's his tag. He always says that.
This is like what's going on? Why are we canceling Disney Plus? I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I canceled it last year, so you know, but that's a different conversation. Thank you for the $2.
Thank you so much for the soup, child. I'm gonna show y'all some love right after we talk about Mad Max Thunderdome because I don't feel like there's a whole lot to say. But here we do get the lovely Tina Turner here once again. The budget was budgeting for this one. Of course, there was an increase. We went really Hollywood with this one, as Paulie said, and we were incorporating big stars like Miss Tina Turner in the lead here, who did really, really well in this film. But we get Bartertown, Master Blaster, who is extremely memorable, Angry Anderson, the Thunderdome, Spin the Wheel, Planet Earth children. That's where it loses me when we get to them Planet Earth children. D, any kind words at all for the Thunderdome situation?
Entity, Tina Turner. That was it for me. Ironically enough, although I was not familiar with this franchise, my I've said this before, but my introduction to YouTube, I used to watch all kinds of videos, and I would have friends that did stuff in like with like vlogs. They did, beauty stuff, all kinds of things. And I had one friend who had done a cosplay of Entity, and like did like this whole kind of backstory in this thing where you saw her putting it together and she had the look. And I thought it was cool, but I don't think I made the connection to what it was. I'm sure she had said like it was Mad Max and blah, 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 blah. But it didn't, I was like, okay, cool. This is a cool cosplay. And she had done so many other ones. And then, of course, years after the fact, circling back around, I was just like, here it is. Makes perfect sense. So yes, so I would say that was really my main draw. I was kind of hopeful after Road Warrior, but it was just like, okay. And the thing is, I've also said this before, I don't know why. It's like some kind of built-in system in my body. But if a film is bad enough after a certain point, my brain will just say like, go to sleep, save yourself from this. And it happened multiple times. Like I literally had a late fine. This was a while ago, but I literally had a late fine bringing this back to Blockbuster because I kept trying to make myself watch it and I never finished.
Ooh, is that bad? I mean, I could understand that, D, because I think everybody equates this film to, this is the inspiration for the California Love video, because that's what everybody connects it to, and Tupac and the look and Dr. Dre and the Thunderdome. But other than that, I don't see a lot of people show a lot of love for this film outside of Tina Turner, and it is the weakest per se for me in the trilogy of them, because I do enjoy Mad Max, I do. But Paulie, anything good to say about Master Blaster in them?
Yeah, like I said, I think the premise and the setup was really cool. The characters, I love Master Blaster. I love fighting in the Thunderdome. Listen, this is mid 80s, so you had Hollywood, you had music, you had fashion. Yes. For better or for worse, all meeting up in in a Australian apocalyptic world, it was wild. This movie's just like visually just wild.
I love the way this one looks. For the most part, this is the first time we get like a town or a city, and there's really distinction in looks. I love this one for that.
I think this last hour of the film just drops off. It's kind of silly. Yeah. And we hadn't gotten vulnerable, and Max fighting for those that can't defend themselves, so to speak, before, but here it just got a little too Disney.
Yes, it's the Planet Earth kids. It's the once we get to the Planet Earth children, and them believing him to be the captain and the whole thing, it gets really Hook, Peter Pan, Disney. It does, and it's a disconnect there. But B, I do still recommend if you check out the first hour or so. I love Master Blaster in the concept of the pig's slot. I ain't gonna say the ish word, but them using the pig stuff to create the oil and methane. The whole thing. Yes, just the whole thing with Master Blaster and him being the head and Master being the body, and the takedown of that, and on Entity having her own ulterior motives and her henchmen. The beginning and the very, very end, I can do with. The middle and the Planet Earth children, I can do without. B, anything on this film?
The name Master Blaster has my mind puzzling on what that means exactly. And your facial expressions is I think I have an answer or an idea. But before we started the live, I was, trying to look up some stuff, and I was like, oh, Tina Turner is in this film. I want to see the movie now. But to be honest with you, after seeing you guys's, opinion on this and the images you have, I would say it's my least interesting. Now,
Fair enough.
It doesn't seem that visually appealing to me. And you guys are just not that enthused. I mean, everybody looked like a badass in the last few images. Yes. But I don't know what the guy in the middle is doing. He looks confused. I'm not really feeling the crossbow gun that Tina Turner has, if that's her. That guy had a pistol with a scope on it, and she has a dart. And I don't know, that looks like Penguin in the top in the middle there. Yeah, if you recommend the first hour and the very end, I will your tower. But out of the first three, this one is I'm least excited for this one right here.
Yeah. For the most part,
it was very
successful. It was very much so, surprisingly. But everybody, once again, there was so much build up with the first two films. There was a bigger budget in Hollywood and the Tina Turner, so it was massively successful. But it is not the most beloved one. This is mostly for me where the ending gets whatever, and we just kind of get to see Max kind of low key be used as a pawn and work his way back to finding out who he is and taking back control of the situation and where he is. But overall, it is definitely not the favorite. Let me go ahead and show you guys some love for these super chats because they are greatly appreciated on all fronts. We love the love. We're going to show some love, and then I am going to come right back and we're going to continue on.
They say she get it from her mama. I'ma say right, body Buddhist, polite. Don't be in the humble type. Tell me, is you down? Cause I'm trying to go up tonight. Hoochie's left or right. I just wanna live in a fantasy. You think we deserve it right? Top of the memory I've ever made in my life. Permanent ecstasy. The ladies is pimps tonight. I put that on my own mama, on my hood. I look fly, I look good. You can't touch my back, but you could. I look.
Because she got it from my mama.
I love it, ma'am. I love it.
Thank you. You don't have to find my own little individual ways to show you guys some love. Once again, support us on all four of these platforms. Shout out to the 100 people here in this live. We appreciate it. Keep hitting that like button and keep showing up in these comments. Getting on to where B is familiar, because I'm going to come to him first. I am going to come to him first. We are brought to Fury Road. Now, this is where we meet Furiosa, the introduction of Furiosa, Tom Hardy as Max, quote unquote, Immortan Joe, the War Boys, and Joe's wives. And that's like putting it condensed. We get a whole lot in this film. B, I cannot wait to hear you expound on this film and just how you felt about it, because you said it a little bit, but I'm trying to understand how anybody could watch this film. I don't care if I watched this from the middle or I caught it in the beginning or just the ass end. I would have been amazed on sight. B, please elaborate on Mad Max Fury Road and your feelings for it.
Well, yeah, I was amazed on sight too. I thought it was beautiful. I mean, it looked amazing. At the time I saw it, it was the first time for me seeing anything like this before. Yes. I mean, visually, it's just stunning. I mean, just seeing all the slow-mo individuals jumping from vehicle to vehicle, giving full effort, 100%. just trying to get on top of the other person to, get resources and material and food or whatever. I thought it was amazing. I just didn't know what the hell was going on or the reason why of anything. I mean, I was really confused until the wives at the bottom were revealed at the end, and things just kind of just started clicking for me. I know one of the things I was really excited about was Tom Hardy at the time, because I don't want to say he was new on the scene for me, coming up in Hollywood, very, very, popular at that time. That was after, The Dark Knight Rises. And so I was a big fan of his because I loved his, performance in Bane. Shout out to your dog as well. And so, I was really on that Tom Hardy train. I think that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to see this film. And he did deliver, he did. But, while, again, I was visually entertained, blown away, I was confused as hell, and didn't understand what the hype was about. But when I went back and saw it the second time, I did appreciate everything that this film had to offer. Now, I know you guys don't really have that much passion for it opposed to the first 3 movies, but I haven't seen those to compare it to. And I am one to really enjoy practical effects over CGI any day. Just dipping over to Star Wars, even though Grogu is a plastic doll and practical and it looks fake, I still prefer that over, what we got with the prequel trilogy and Star Wars. And so partly going back to you, I completely understand, your argument as far as, practical versus CGI. But it was, I want to watch this again very, very soon. I would, like I said before we went live, I was trying to do it before we started the broadcast today. I just couldn't get to it because of the day job. But it's good film to me. Or actually, great film.
Let me read some of you guys' super chats. I just want to say I thought this film was amazing. I thought this was the best action film I had seen in like the past, when I really started getting into films, like mid-20s, like the past 5 years. I was like, oh my God, I thought this was breathtaking. I love the way, more than anything, I love the way that this movie made room for both Max and Furiosa. It was really difficult for me to visualize Mad Max without Mel Gibson, or I'm like, we're going to be following a woman. Like, I thought they was going to girl boss this and piss me off. I didn't know what was going to happen, but the fact that they could both be respectfully their own individual entities. And there was just enough room to really appreciate what Max and Furiosa had to offer and get into them as characters. I don't know what else I could say about Immortan Joe. Just amazing. Really great. Toe Cutter coming back, returning. It was just phenomenal. Really unfortunate that, he passed and he was not able to return for Furiosa. But to come back and have such an impact so far removed from that trilogy and be so captivating, I have still, up until this day, I mean, Dune is Dune, because I could say I could compare it to something like Dune, but it's still not hitting me where this is, like visually and story wise. I just thought the concept was just absolutely amazing. The practical and CGI rendering of the film, it was perfect. The wives, just the storytelling was good, and it was intriguing and simplistic at the same time for this to just pretty much be a chase movie. This is a redemption chase movie. This is the bare bones of it. It really reminded me what I loved about action movies, because most of the movies I love are from the 80s anyway, and it was great. Like, I loved it. But let me read some of this and come on down there to you, Polly. Let's see, this is my favorite of the 3 original. This is probably back from that, and I'm going to assume that this is for part 2 and this was not for Thunderdome, because if it is, bless you. But it has some real heart. Cinematography is great, and they hired real film score producers. Remember, this film had 2 directors because Miller was grieving. It did, definitely getting into. Thank you so much, Michael Nemo, for the $10 super chat. We definitely appreciate it. Michael Nemo rolling up again. Thank you. Let's see. I think on location scouting that venture for the film, producer died in is that Chapter?
Yeah, like kind of
Copter crash. Oh, like a helicopter crash, and I could be wrong though. I think so. I would have to go back. I haven't even delved into those thoughts in a very, very long time, but I think you could maybe be right. But Polly, thoughts on Fury
Yes.
Road? Please break it down for the folks.
Well, how do you want me to break it down? As a Mad Max purist or as an adventure film purist?
Whichever one is gonna let us get to D, Polly, because you know you said purist. That means death. Come on, Polly.
Okay, with the positives here. Fantastic, good time, great filmmaking, cinematography, the colors, the going more into the wasteland, fun stuff. This cast, Nicholas Hoult, oh my god. Zoe Kravitz, the other one who's in everything right now, Coing. What's her first name? Emily? I can't remember. The redhead. She's in everything right now, and they were very small roles. So hats off to the casting, obviously. And Charlize, it was riveting. I love watching her in this. I loved her in Atomic Blonde as well, and of course the villains were very exciting. This is a very simple story, which is fine. It's keeps you on your seat. Some of those scenes, some of those rides, especially riding along that sandstorm, was something else. Especially when I remember seeing it on the big screen for the first time. Here's my cons. This is not a Mad Max film. Even in this poster, it's her film.
Yes.
What this is, and this is not a negative. This is not a negative, right? This could be negative to some people, but I'm just saying this is the first successful feminist film that captured a mainstream audience. Feminist adventure action film. This is very much, and Miller said this is very much a feminist film, which is fine. Listen, I loved it. But you could say that in a lot of his films, he was dropping knowledge in all of these post-apocalyptic films, is that, men, ka-tunk, boom, bam, listen to the women, listen to your families, listen to the children. So, but that being said, who was Mad Max? That's not Mad Max. That is not Mad Max.
They're attaching it to the franchise, Paulie, so they want to, they have to cash in on $1. That I love the fact that he didn't just pop up and go, I'm Max, like it's even not even that, just that the fact that he only reveals his actual name to her, in the very, very end.
That's not new. That's not new. He did that in Road Warrior.
But for this, you once again continuing on the themes, I thought the film had really great room for Max in a very strong capacity, and they didn't completely, with this being a feminist film, they could have just made Max completely obsolete, and I don't feel like he was.
That's why I said it was. Listen, I said it was a successful. There's been a lot of unsuccessful girl bosses films the last 10 years. This is 10 years ago, right? So, and I said that was, I'm giving it all the love first, guys. But for me, this is not Mel Gibson. This is not Mad Max. This was supposed to have been, I believe the story's been around for a few decades.
Yes.
Which Mel was a lead, and then Mel got in trouble in the mid-aughts and they had to recast. So,
yes.
I just think that just the character, he does a lot of non-Mad Max stuff. That's just me. What do I know? You asked me that I'm being honest on both sides. But listen, seeing it again, I mean, light years above Furiosa.
Let's see.
Okay.
Michael Nemo with the $2 super chat. I still say Mel should play Max. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, that was a strong. If the movie had any shortcomings, I would have ripped it to shreds. Like the fact that it was phenomenal, I didn't mind. Max so much. And this is so far removed with all of the issues that came up before they could even get to this. That to the point that not only could we not have Mel Gibson, but Mel Gibson was a man of a certain age by this point. So it was. I think Tom Hardy did great with what he had. D, what about you?
Yes, like I said, this definitely, like I said, that trailer brought me in, but I still was like, Lord, I don't know what's going on. I see cars, I see sand, I see oil, I see explosions, and I don't know what else is going on, but hey, I'm a theater goer, so let's go to the theater. Side note, I almost had to cuss one of my friends out because they decided they wanted to infringe on my trip to the movies and tell me what I was going to watch and not watch. Well, why are you going to see that? Let's go see this. And I was like, So before this becomes a whole nother conversation, I'm just going to hang up and go watch this movie. So yes, Fury Road was, like I said, a very unexpected experience for me. And I think what I like about it is that it is very simplistic in a way. Like even with all of its bombastic, over the top, visuals and all that kind of stuff, there's something very straightforward and simple about it. Some people have said it's plotless. I wouldn't go so far to say that. I wouldn't say that personally. And I like the fact that it has restraint and that it doesn't necessarily connect all the dots for you in a way, as far as the world that's been established. And of course, it's different if you've also seen the original films. But yeah, I just like the way it just kind of set the scene, and then we kind of go from there. I also like that with it being this continuous. I think after a certain point, it was just like, this is really like a continuous chase, like nonstop chase. And the irony of that is that it also makes me think of Apocalypto, which Mel Gibson directed. And, the bulk of that film is this constant, chase, relentless chase with all these perils and all these crazy things going on. And I think in a way it kind of circled around and kind of gave me that same sense of excitement. Yeah, when they hit the sandstorm, I think we all have a moment where we're like, okay, I'm really in.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
What a lovely day. This when we hit the what a lovely day energy.
Yes. Right. And when I saw and they pulled back and you saw those, that slowly coming in, everyone racing. And then when the music swelled with the explosion inside, I was like, oh, it's over. Like Junkie XL and their score. So I was like, oh, I'm in this now. So I just think it did a lot for me, just on so many visceral levels. And yeah, it just found a way to stand out in the in the genre of action and maybe adventure to an extent. Sci-fi, dystopian, futures and things like that. But yeah, for me, it really stood out, and like I said, more so because I just thought it was going to be a mishmash of foolishness, and it was the complete.
It was not like everybody. I just love the character development, and there was room for it. You didn't feel like it was running on too long. It just like us being able to get into, because I didn't go into this expecting to care for anybody's Warboy arc and him, having a big revelation of what Immortan Joe really wants for them and why is he sacrificing himself and really sacrificing himself when it really, witness me. Absolutely great. Absolutely spraying the joint on the mouth, screaming. It was epic for me. This was like I don't think I went to the movies in a long time and just felt that type of momentum in the theater. It was really, really great. Or even just Immortan Joe and his quest for the perfect child, or just, one without any defects, and the wives. It was great. I can't think of one thing outside of what Paulie was saying. This is definitely not per se a Mad Max film. It's not, but the bare bones are there for it to still be in the same universe. So
correct. And right. And I wanted to say, like, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right. But obviously for Hollywood and to market it, Mad Max Fury Road, where, Fury Road, Tales from the Wasteland, something like that, because they really got into a problem with that with Furiosa right on time. All right.
Well, I'm probably going to skip this slide because I think we all know everybody's feelings at this point. I cannot wait for B to be up there fighting for his life. I don't think I've shared my thoughts on Furiosa distinctively, but I did say it was my least favorite. I'm not going to just share too many thoughts. I'm just going to say I was not impressed for right now. I was not at all impressed. And we're going to go on to the next slide. I was not impressed in the slightest. This one tried my patience. But what we learned, because we did learn, I wanted so badly to have this slide say, because normally it'll be likes and dislikes, what I liked. I couldn't find anything to put there. I could not find anything to have a consistent list of things I really liked in this film. But we do learn things in this film. How Furiosa lost her arm. Why did she shave her head? How did Furiosa become in charge of the war rig at the Citadel? We learned some stuff. I'm going to go to what my issues were because I've been sitting on them this whole life. I couldn't stand this film. I could not stand this film, and I was so disappointed in every single aspect of it. There was potential here. I'll say this is a decent, halfway decent action film. When you put this next to something like Mad Max Fury Road, it just shrivels up into nothing. And I hate, as you know, Nikki said, that the little girl that they had this film to, follow up to that. But what ruined this film for me, and of course I have additional slides to, partake in this. Hold on. The prequel, no one asked for, 10 years too late. Underdeveloped character / script, same budget, more CGI, less practical effects, resulting in a lackluster wasteland. Pacing and momentum issues with a longer running time. Fury Road set a very high standard. B, I am going to come to you first because you really love this film, and I would really love to know why.
Yeah, I disagree with your first bullet point and your fourth. Just because you didn't ask for it does not mean if it was executed accurately or not. There's a ton of films that I personally have never asked for, but that doesn't determine if it's good or bad. So, that's objective, and in my opinion. Let me correct myself. I said I disagree with your fourth bullet point. I actually do agree with you as far as the pacing and momentum issues with a longer runtime. This film did not drag for me. However, I cannot stand chapter breaks in movies. When it fades to black and it says chapter 1, chapter 2. That was the thing I did not like about this movie. That I did say in my review is very jarring to me. It ruins the transition. So we do agree there. I actually can't argue with you about the CGI and less practical effects because I have no argument there because I haven't seen the first three to compare to. And so also I don't mean to be a ageist or ageism or just say you're a young baby, but when we are younger, we tend to gravitate to films more in ways. And so if you fell in love with something at a younger age, when you're more impressionable of practical effects, and then, 20 years later or so, you get a CGI bomb. It's like, what is this? All the computers and bright lights. But me personally, I really enjoyed it. I could not tell that it was on volume or it was a CGI bomb fest. I'm pretty sure it was there, but what are you doing, Tara?
Oh my God.
I'm leaning back.
But it was good to me. What I'm so confused about is, give me a short answer if you don't mind. Okay. Is it that you just didn't like the movie or you don't like how it compared to the first four films? Because that's the difference.
I'm not with this. Even when we're getting into the CGI rendering or comparing, I would never compare this to the first three. I put this in a separate category with Fury Road all on its own. The only thing I would ever compare it to is that, and it's very poor to me in comparison to that. This is a decent action film, but in this universe, for it to survive, I didn't care for it.
I guess I just accepted it because for what it was an origin story for a supporting character in the whole franchise, Furiosa. We got to see her at the very beginning, very timid, frail, and afraid, but she was a product of her environment and she had no choice to survive. And she did just that. She adapted to every freaking situation that she was in. And I love that. I mean, even from the very beginning, when she's been kidnapped, she has enough smarts to let me bite off the tube so that these people, they can lose the gasoline and can't move their vehicle anymore. Not the average 10-year-old would think that way, in my opinion. And then again, they were so goddamn thorough with the sharpshooting and stuff like that. And these women just weren't swole with big muscles on their back, but they knew what they had. I mean, I was just blown away by that. And I hate it when properties were shoehorned. What is the term? A Mary Sue? You know, where the woman is just a super saiyan and she can just do anything. That's kind of how I felt like Rey and the sequel trilogy for Star Wars. I keep talking about Star Wars for some reason. That was not the case. It was, I felt like these women had, she had the little whistle, hey, if you get in trouble, just blow the whistle. You know what I'm saying? We coming, we dropping everything, and bam, we there. And I was just like, hell yeah, I'm into this right here. And the way, just like, I can go on. I don't get it. I don't get it, but I was glued to at the edge of my seat from the very beginning, just like, man, these women are badass, and at the same time, we got a brief glimpse of the men too, and we're just talking about the first 5 minutes here. They didn't crap on the men. The women were strong, they were powerful, and they had their place in their society in the Greenland, and I was just hooked. And that's just on the side of the protagonist. We got Chris Hemsworth. One of the things that he knocked out the park that he didn't do in Thor: Love and Thunder was being a silly character but serious at the same time with all of his charisma. I love the transition of him going back and forth. Yeah, I'm here now. Come live with me, and I'll give you all the resources, so you don't got to listen to this Mortis Joe guy up here with a skull on his face. Da 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 da. And then he met his match. But when he was chasing Furiosa, I was like, okay, yeah, he not effing around. Like, I look.
No, I love it. I love it. Fight for you. Better fight for this film. I love it, B.
In it, man. I love this.
I love it. I cannot wait.
She didn't even need dialogue. Everything was in Anya Taylor-Joy's face. I mean, like, it was such a great performance. Whether she was
falling down there melting.
Whether she was quiet or she was speaking, man, I felt every emotion. I'm a dollar back.
I love this. I love that we could all have different. Somebody could watch something and have a completely different perspective than you do. I'm going to read some super chats, and D, I'm going to come to you. Oh, that was so hard for me to stomach, B. I didn't think it would hurt my insides so badly. If a new Mad Max film included Mel Gibson returning and had Hardy as his son in it too, that would be an epic film. Absolutely. I've been waiting for that forever. I would have preferred that over what we got here.
No doubt.
I would have preferred that over what we got here. I think that would be absolutely amazing. How that would happen, I don't know, but that would be great. It would just be great to see Mel Gibson re-enter the franchise as a whole. That would have been epic. Child, if Mel Gibson would have popped out just in this film, it would have gave me a spark of hope for whatever they were trying to do here that I was somewhat impressed by. But let me read the rest. I just want to mess with me. Thank you so much.
Instant Defense for $10 says Santa Sangre, which is totally it's a movie. It's an incredible movie from the 90s. So I don't know why he's saying that, but he did the $10. So I will do a retro review instant, because it is an incredible film I saw in my college days. Wild film.
I've never heard of this film. I was like, what is this? I thought it was so disconnect, but I knew it was probably
by Jodorowsky.
Thank you. Definitely check it out. Let's see, we got one more down here, I think. Let's see. If they recast Michael Nemo, once again showing love. If they recast, they killed Han, they killed Luke, they killed Bond, they killed Indy, and reshot it, but it's not a pattern. It's not a pattern. Thank you guys so much for the love. D, before I move on to the next slide, do you agree with or disagree with anything that's here?
First, let me say that I agree with Jasmine. Brandon is definitely standing on business, and I truly appreciate it. Seriously, I'm not being funny. I'm like, Make it clear. Write the vision and make it plain, right? Yeah. But no, and I actually agree with some of what Brandon said. Now, here, I will definitely say that I do agree with the good amount of what's on here. I would say, for whatever reason, for me, it kind of I'm trying to think of the two biggest issues. I think just off the bat, because I had to think about like what's the first thing that went through my head, and that opening. When I saw those visuals, I was just kind of like, what's going on here? And I promise I'm not even, I make jokes all the time in my reviews about how I feel about CGI and the little reaction that I have every time I mention it. But I'm not as tough on it, or green screen and things like that. But sometimes it just, even from my limited perspective on it, there are times where it just reaches over that, and I'm just like, yeah, no. So I think unfortunately with the Fury Road piece, you add that in also. A lot of what Fury Road did visually was practical with the CGI wrapped in there, but there was no point where I watched and it was just like, ooh, what's
it took me out.
No, from the beginning, and I think even if it was like maybe moments here and there, but from the beginning, like when they showed,
the apple.
You said what?
I say from the apple, honey. They lost me at the apple.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I can't think of the name of that place, but
Green Place.
Yeah, the Green Place. Yeah, when they did that pan out and showed them all standing there, I was like, oh no. And I guess what's bizarre is like it's still George Miller, it's still a fairly high budget, and I just didn't expect for it to have this cheap kind of I don't even know the word, because it's obviously not technically cheap, but it just had a look to it that felt so like not polished and not finessed, and that was the first thing that took me out. I was really like thrown by that, and then I think as we kept going on, I realized that there was a certain point, probably because of the kind of the way they handled the development and the script, I realized the emotional investment wasn't there. Because I know when I'm like, oh man, and I can feel it. I don't have to necessarily react to everything, but I still feel it internally. And after a certain point, I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to really feel it, but it's not there. Now, little moments like the thing with when her arm was chained up, and then how that happened, that was like whoa, that was a moment. But a lot of moments that I was expecting to have, and as far as digging to the character and the backstory, because I actually like prequels for that reason, for me, it just didn't deliver on that standpoint. I just wanted to walk away feeling a much deeper emotional connection to this character, given what we saw in Fury Road, and I just think they didn't fully handle it correctly from a lot of different standpoints.
Yeah, I think that's for me with prequels too. I don't mind prequels so much, but you have to work really hard to get us invested in characters who are already established, and characters we already know, where Furiosa eventually ended up and when she eventually returned to the Green Place. So that adds another extra layer to get us invested in what's at stake. I was not invested right off the back. It felt so rushed. Getting into that washed out of the Green Place, I was really looking forward in this one to seeing what was at stake and actually getting to see the Green Place and lived in. And even if it would have been brief, the time that we had in this movie, they could have definitely shown, I don't care if it was her mom showing her a little trade or telling her to be just, a little bit of interaction there, just really getting into the community and what Furiosa was fighting so hard to get back to, because in Fury Road, we see, nothing. It's already a wasteland. Right. I wanted more of that. And then, we do have the young Furiosa. We have the Green Place, the kidnapping, and I put Mother Mary, the rescuing badass. That's all good and dandy, but I wanted to know her mother. So much of Furiosa in here is her mother. It was so quick. I was like, why are we rushing? Why are we rushing? It was so quick to get like we know that, you know, I'll go above and beyond, as you should as a mother, to rescue your child, and that she's a sharpshooter. She's smart and she's resourceful, you know, qualities that we know Furiosa for as well. But I felt absolutely no tug at my heartstrings, or just to really care to be invested that she got her. Like, it just, something was missing. And then if you have that distraction along with the visual aid lacking, in my opinion, that was just a disconnect. And I hated to have that as soon as the movie came on. Polly, I'm going to come to you.
Save me for last, huh? This movie sucked. This movie sucked. I mean,
I knew it. That's why I saved you.
Movie's terrible. This movie is this is an epitome of what is everything that is wrong in Hollywood right now. Everything that is wrong in Hollywood. It was bloated, self-indulgent, didn't need to be made. You already had one. It's called Fury Road, Brandon. It's called Fury Road. Okay. We don't need a prequel of a prequel of a prequel. I mean, absolutely garbage. Hot garbage here. What is this? What is this? This movie had no business being 2 hours and 28 minutes.
None.
I you know, and listen, let me tell you right now, I went in very positive. I know I'm being very negative right now, and I'm just, but I did go to an early screening as well, so I was in a good mood. It was half critics, half fans, which, you know, it was a good environment, and I was feeling good. I had a really good day that day. I just saw Challengers. I really liked Challengers. I was like, go. Same, right? You know, anyways. Man, I was pissed off by the end of this film, because it's like you double down on just taking advantage of the Mad Max name. And you know, so there's that, and George Miller lost his mind on this. It's like, you need to stop, man. It's like, again, you took Road Warrior, copy and paste times 10, make everything bigger, badder, you know, but you know, it's fast in Furiosa. So listen, people enjoyed it, you know, God bless. I did not. And then, you know, I think it's interesting though that Brandon hasn't seen the other ones, and that's cool. It's like, okay, well, that's why I get he really likes this film. Storytelling, boy, this is horrible. It was just like boring. And Hemsworth was interesting. Why not just make the movie about him? Here's something you didn't do, you haven't done yet. Make it a villain point of view film.
A villain.
You don't need Furiosa. You don't need Mad Max. Tales from the Wasteland, Dementis, The Rise of Dementis. Hemsworth, I would have loved. Make it 90 minutes. Don't make it 2.5 hours. I would have been all in, because he was outstanding. You talk about chapters, Brandon. You know, for someone that liked it so much, you're agreeing with a lot of our sentiments, because the chapters were ridiculous. Were bloated, too long. One chapter I really loved, The Stowaway. Spoilers, guys. She stowaways with Praetorian Jack. Great character. They have this weird relationship. Why not let them kiss? What's so wrong with a man and a woman kissing in a film nowadays? Yeah, obviously they had a special bond. It was the only interesting relationship in the film. That was great, but couldn't even do that. Yeah, I could go on and on, but
I do have slides.
Brandon, I think you're muted.
My part. I was muted. I didn't know that I was talking and I was muted. Jesus.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay, so how? I know you said you had a good day when the day you
Oh, we go back to that. Okay, all right. Come on, Brandon. I love you, man.
Love you too.
All right, here we go.
Looking forward to future collabs. But how did you feel when this film was announced? Were you excited, like, we get a origin story of Furiosa, or were you kind of like, what? This is a waste of money, waste of time?
Great question. So, I actually saw the trailer a few months ago. When was it? The second trailer, maybe a month and a half ago, whenever it was. I was so impressed by it that I did a video out of the theater, which I never do.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, this looks like it could be a knockout. No, I was jacked.
Oh wow. I hated the trailer. I did. I was disappointed in the trailer.
There we go.
I was hoping that my feelings on the trailer would be subsided when I got to see the film. Everything I felt about that trailer was double down in this movie. D, how did you feel about go ahead, B. What you got to say about that?
My bad. No,
go ahead. Go ahead.
This is the worst movie for everybody on the panel, Furiosa.
In the franchise?
Yes.
Yes, for me.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Quite for me.
Okay.
D, how did you feel about, because I wasn't sure how to feel about her being mute, because we were supposed to be really getting into Furiosa. I do understand that this is meant for her survival, but she's captured, muted, and plotting for about 60% of the film. How did you feel about that? Did you think it was a wise choice?
You know what? Now that you've asked me that, I realized you said as soon as you saw the apple, that was kind of your sign that things were off. I just realized, I just went back in my brain and I realized that for me, it was young Furiosa's wig. It was just like, something is not right here. And I never pay attention to those kinds of things because I don't know anything about wig. But I was just like, this hair looks very, very interesting. And maybe it just kind of added to that weird uncanny valley vibe they had going on. But
you know, D movie, man. It you're right. This film has no business looking cheap. Yet so much money. Where did the money go?
I would like to know.
That was crazy, man. That's what I did not expect. I did not expect that was going to look so cheap. Overblown lighting in some scenes. Yeah. Some scenes were beautiful. Some scenes like, whoa, that's really green screen. And then these cheap ass wigs, some booty looking villains. I mean, it was weak, man. This film.
Holly, do you feel like if Furiosa maybe would have had a little bit more dialogue, would it have changed your feelings or about the story arc?
No. Listen, no. I love Anya Taylor. She was fine.
Yeah.
She was fine. She just kind of showed up a little too late in the film. Didn't really have a lot to do. That one, again, the stowaway chapter, she was fantastic in. Unfortunately, there's 10 other chapters.
I'm gonna read the super chat because I loved it. Brandon is busting caps on the panel. He ain't playing, man. Peace, Tyra. The Furiosa slides. Let's see. Latino Slant and D movie ban. Thank you so much. Definitely pop for this movie. You better support this movie. Yeah. Ain't nobody else gonna do it if you don't do it. I feel like it fell short when we got into the silent portion. When they decided to go this route, first of all, I thought they could have went a smarter way of her being kidnapped. I thought that was really couldn't we have done something better with her being captured and taken away from the green place? I thought it was handled a little, yeah. But the moment that she was silent, I thought that this was going to be the one thing I maybe enjoyed about the film, the Demented Dementus. I thought we were going to get more into him. And I put Chris Hemsworth and his prosthetic nose needed more time to cook. He needed more time to gain a true villain investment, Gastown and Little D. I wanted a whole lot more time with him. He was the main thing that I enjoyed about this film. And I felt like George Miller maybe thought that he couldn't carry this film all on his own as a villain, so we needed to incorporate Immortan Joe. And with us kind of going 50-50 between, Immortan Joe served absolutely no purpose here. I just wish we would have just solely focused on Dementus and really put both of our true investment here and her getting back to this situation. It could have been a little ending cliff situation tie-in to Immortan Joe in the Citadel, and I would have been cool with that. But just getting into his more of his arc, because you could tell that there are so many layers there. I know a lot of us, well, some of us, because B loved it. With the ending, the one thing I loved about the ending was his monologue, and I just wanted some more of him. And once we left him and we were kind of left with Anya Taylor-Joy, and I felt like they stepped on the one thing I liked. B, I see you up there shaking your head. Go ahead, B.
could not disagree more. You must have been asleep through half of the movie. He was in the film just as much as Furiosa was, if not more. From the very beginning of her kidnapping till the very end when she planted the apple seed in him, and that was weird, but you know, when I hit my suffer. I don't understand. I mean, we got so many different arcs and personalities from this one man. You got the sloths up there. You know, at one point I was just like, you know what? He's not that bad. You know, he's a little crazy, you know, a little kooky or whatever, but I kind of understand where he's coming from. He's just has his own civilization carved out in this wasteland, you know, trying to get his piece of the pie. You know, then later on, I saw that he was a monster, but I just don't understand that sentiment there that you wanted more. I thought that, I mean, if this film would have been called, you know, Mr. Dementis, you know, I would have been fine with that from the amount of screen time, you know, that he got. So, you know, I mean, I love the character from the very beginning where they were trying to shake Furiosa, you know, his pockets or something. And you know, he was being like, okay, we're not gonna treat her that way, you know what I'm saying? Let's be civilized. Okay, this is a young girl, you know. I was like, okay, you know, not that bad. But then like later on, you know, he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So I don't know. I think I got, you know, I hear people complain about villains often in films and TV series, like, oh, they gave so much attention to the protagonist, not the antagonist. I just feel like we got more than we bargained for. So yeah,
from the moment of them transitioning from, okay, well, we're kidnapping her and keeping her with hopes of her leading us to the green place. From the time that she wasn't going to speak and we weren't leading her to the green place, I needed more momentum as to why he was keeping her around and taking care of her. Now, we are made to understand clearly, you know, they have the little bear there as a little remnants of a family that he may have had and lost, and he sees her, little D, you know, my daughter, or you know, some type of depiction of that. But I wanted some, and that's a good thing to want some more of someone. But I think if we would have focused more just on him and not incorporating Immortan Joe, I would have been absolutely okay with that. I liked him here. I thought this is one of Chris Hemsworth's better roles. I thought he did great here.
I mean, he was all right, you know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, D.
Polly, D.
I was afraid of him.
That nose was whack, man. It looked terrible in some scenes. I was like, is this Wizard of Oz, like hand-me-down nose? Good in some scenes.
I didn't like nothing.
On point on some scenes.
I liked at least some stuff.
No,
you didn't enjoy his before I bring it back to D. You didn't enjoy his performance even a little bit.
No, I'm actually just pulling legs here. It actually was really good. I said give me a villain origin story of him. Just him. Don't call it Mad Max. Just, you know, I think it would have been some brilliant stuff. Yeah. So yeah.
D?
Yeah, I have to say I wasn't really sure what to make of Dementis at first. I'm a little annoyed. I don't know what constitutes a plot hole or not, or if we have to kind of create conveniences or contrivances for the story to move along, because I feel like if a character makes a sacrifice for you to get away and then you disobey that and then run towards the character and get captured, thus undermining the sacrifice that the character has just made for you to do, that already kind of took me out. The whole thing with Furiosa and her mom, and I was like, okay, we're just going to that made absolute sense to me. That was logically sound. So after that, that part aside, I do think that Lord, I was about to say Christopher Columbus. I do think that Chris's performance was definitely one of the highlights. There were times where I think the comedic tone threw me because this film was obviously taking itself seriously. But for the most part, I did take it. I do think for the most part it worked. And like you said, and I don't know if they were going for a Thanos, Gamora type situation where it's just like, yes, I'm evil, but And I do think that had we leaned a little bit more, not that we have to, again, we don't have to dot every I and cross every T, but definitely getting a little more as far as their dynamic, even with, moments, like you said, that really brought some things home, like the monologue at the end. But and I just think, I do think that Immortan Joe just felt like he was there to tie it back into Fury Road, because there was no real reason for him to be here. And I feel like if you're going in the same way that they briefly hinted or briefly showed the wives at the end, they could have done the same thing with Immortan Joe. It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing with Jaws, where it's like the less you see, the impact is still there. The more you show, it's like just in small doses.
Yeah, I think that I second that. If the situation with the Citadel was executed better, I would feel differently, but I don't. And I thought it was lackluster and it was a waste of time. And I could have just dealt with Furiosa getting her vengeance on the Dementis and moved on from there. I would have been okay with that. Polly, anything else on Dementis?
On Dementis, no.
Nothing.
I'm good. Again, it's not even my favorite Mad Max villain, but he was good.
Not at all. He was good. Thank you, Dane C, for the $2 super chat. Latino Slant is also busting caps on the panel. Yeah, we pop. This is a busting caps S panel. Definitely. Thank you so much, Dane C. I knew we were going to bust caps, but I just love it. Back to what I was saying about pretty much the inclusion of, I put the not so Immortan Joe, because it's this. Okay, kudos to let me take this back here, to the stunt double. Don't laugh, D. I don't want you to laugh yet. Don't do that. Kudos to the stunt double who came back to do this role due to the passing of the Immortan Joe. There's, costuming. The original Immortan Joe acted through all of that. I will say that there's a reason for a stunt double or body double or whatever to be that, and a reason for an actor to be an actor. He was here. It just felt like this Immortan Joe was a shell of his former self. I just didn't get into it that much. I really didn't at all appreciate us including more of the supporting characters, the one-off characters from Fury Road. Like, hey, remember this person? This is what they were doing. It didn't do anything for me. The inclusion of his additional son, that didn't do anything for me. This was just inclusion from George Miller that just felt like, I don't think Dementis is enough to encapsulate, as that big, great villain. So let me include Immortan Joe. Also, you get 2 times the villain. And I think it was a disadvantage to both of them. Either you should have picked one, or it shouldn't have been this. Brandon?
Yeah, of course, I disagree. I thought that connects everything to the 2015 film, Fury Road. So I thought it was brilliant. He did not get that much screen time as Dementis, and I did appreciate that, because we've never seen Dementis before, so he should get the more screen time in Immortan Joe. I was like, I remember this guy. He's very distinct with the way he looks. I was not aware of the passing. I thought this was the same person, so thank you for that bit of information. But seeing Dementis and Immortan Joe going back and forth, I'm like, okay, neither one of these people are good. They're both evil. They are, they're just on, opposite sides of the coin. This is a Furiosa movie. That's who we're rooting for. We want her to win. No matter what, she's going back and forth from foe to foe. We just want her to get out of this and survive. And we thought that she was. When she survived the highway scene and she was with that other guy, and they kind of fell in love, and which is another reason why I enjoyed the movie, because she was trying to get back to the green place, but she felt obligated to free the women, and so she's just kind of trapped, like, damn, I want to get back to my home people, but I got to liberate these women over. Another reason why I just enjoyed the film. But the bringing the supporting characters back, Immortan Joe, I would have actually been disappointed if if we didn't get that, because in the 2015 film she's trying to get away from these people. And so what happened before that? We see that in this film. We see how he does treat people, or good or bad. He's he has people living in these little sand tunnels and barely gives them drinks of water, and they're so I felt it was necessary to explain why Furiosa was trying to get away in Fury Road. So I mean, I don't see how the film could have worked without him.
I could see that, but no.
You're not gonna get Brandon anything, Tyra.
Yeah.
I thought it was so poor. Like, if you're gonna bring him back, even in the way that we have Dementis roll up and just strong-arm Joe for Gastown, like I expected more fight, more rebuttal, more retaliation. Like, I thought that it was going to be so epic, and we were going to intertwine that with Furiosa, doing what she needs to do, trying to get back to the green place. It was like, no, it happened. And then when we actually do have the moment of, all right, it's wartime, we montage and just like gloss. We see nothing. This was the first Fury Road film, or Fury Road Mad Max Saga film, where I thought the chase, it was so, the desert looked small. Like, it was so underwhelming. I didn't care for any of it.
I have a question, and I have a point to where I agree with you.
Yes.
The point to where I agree with you is in my review for this Furiosa, I gave it a 9 out of 10. My two things that stopped it from being perfect was the chapter breaks, and also the third act where they did rush through the 40-day war. I was like, what the hell? This is what the film is building up to, and you just montage through? That is ridiculous. That pissed me off. So I do agree with you there. But my question is, be honest now, I'm gonna call you out. Do you really have this disdain for Immortan Joe in this movie because you really didn't like him, or because it's a different actor and not the same person?
I didn't like him. It's really both. I didn't like him. If this actor had came and had done, he wasn't given anything to work with to really live in this role. I can't be mad at him. He did what he needed to do. He put I was going to say he put that shit on. He put the armor on. He put the Immortan Joe aesthetic on, and he delivered in the only way that he could. But if you don't give anybody anything to do or work with, it's just completely underwhelming. Even getting into the tie-in of Furiosa wanting so bad to not return to the green place later on to free the wives, it would have been nice to have her have some, maybe just a moment of her interacting with the wives, or just to even pull at the heartstrings as to why she would want to save these women outside of them being women. Like, we didn't even spend any time there. We immediately, jumped from her jumping from that and disguising herself as a boy. So when we have the little cliffhanger of, hey, now that it was nothing throughout this film that say, you know what, as soon as I get a moment of freedom, I'm not really going to take it. I'm going to stay here and try to save these wives. It just absolutely wasn't there. It wasn't. Paulie, I'm going to come to you. Paulie.
Please don't.
I gotta come to you, Paulie.
What's up?
Yeah, give me something. Like, did you love the Immortan Joe here? Was he great? Was he everything you ever thought he would be?
No, not at all. Boring, man. I gotta tell you also too, she was such a prize to him, right? With the big trade. I'm doing spoilers, guys. Okay.
Of course, all the time. This is that channel.
So we're gonna do some spoilers here. There's an agreement. Hemsworth's character gets, what does he get? Bullet Town or gasoline? One of those castles, right? And in return, Morton gets young Furiosa and this and that. Prized because Furiosa is a full-grown, untouched, that whole thing. So this is huge to Immortan Joe. Okay. So huge plot hole, which I thought was just freaking lazy as F. Homeboy's son goes after her, which was, real creepy and like, what the F? But it's like, all right. What's that?
I said it was very random.
Very random. but she evades, and then she's hiding under a pipe. And we nothing. And then Morton Joe's like, la 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 la, like, oh,
never acknowledges her being missing or looks for. We just get
like, that was just horrible. And then she stays here. She could slip out. I'm gone. I'm going back to the land of the the weird green people, with didgeridoos and all that stuff. And then she stays and becomes a gearhead. She stays for a horrible life and hangs out with the war boys. I was like, what? That did not make sense. Furiosa, the young Furiosa, who was just 10-year-old, very headstrong and very survival, like they almost escaped with her mom. She would have left. She would have taken off. That was a real big plot hole for me.
Once again, Polly, that's why I wanted a tie-in to those women. So maybe she felt like the wives, like maybe I have an allegiance here. They've, helped me through this trying time. I have a connection to want to stay here or save them. They never made that connection.
Right. Because, that first night, they put her in with the other wives, and Big Boy comes after her. Like, oh God, give her a couple days. Let some time go by. So I just thought that was a terrible plot hole.
Okay.
I mean, I have not crosstalked to you at all, Brandon, right? Because I'm respecting you.
Did you or
was that a decent storytelling? Come on.
I see what you're saying, but where could she have gone? I think that she was smart enough to pretend that she was a male so that she can learn as much as she could so that she could escape later. I mean, she did try to leave. Tara, I kind of see what you're saying as far as building a relationship with the women and that being, her reason that she's wanting to stay. But at the same time, I kind of feel like I just kind of felt like that was obvious. Like, okay, these women are sex slaves. We don't like, I wish I was free and didn't have to open my legs. I don't know. I just kind of thought that was obvious, but I mean, I'm not wrong. But I mean, Polly, I see what you're saying.
I'm not trying to be a hater. It just, what her story idea is great. Let her bond with the young wives. And it's like, okay, now she has agency. Her agency at that time was, I'm going home. I'm getting the F out of here. I just evaded Big Boy. Let me slip on down this pipe.
I thought at that moment she was going to be trying to run away and get recaptured. Right. And then it'll be like, I've tried. I thought we were going to actually get a montage of her trying to run away multiple times to where she just like, you know what?
And then a Morton would have just been scouring his lair, like just turning stuff upside down, and then have the son lie. There was none of that.
I just really wanted them to acknowledge the fact that she disappeared. Even that
was so weird.
That sent me that no one acknowledged it. And Dee, I'm about to come to you to elaborate on how you felt about Immortan Joe or just her transition. But I put Y here because I didn't like it. Got cartoonish for me at some point. These are the only images that I could really collect. There were so many, but these were the things that I was like, what the hell is this? The War Boys are, like they were pretty much my second or so favorite thing about Fury Road. Like I love them and what they stood for and just the arc. The first time, and I hated the fact that this was the first War Boy that we see in the introduction and the idiotic. This was bad. This was bad, and I hated this. I thought it took away from the seriousness that we got with these characters in the first film, and just this was horrible. But D, anything you want to have on this, or just the plot of Furiosa staying and her just going off the grid and nobody's saying anything about it?
I was trying to do my best to and I think honestly this is where I was starting to check out, because I felt like I have a question actually. If I'm not mistaken, one of Joe's sons is the son we also see in Fury Road, the one who threw up and crying over his little brother.
Yes.
This is not meant to sound shady at all, but I'm like, since this takes place before that film, is he supposed to look the way he does in Furiosa? He looks very different. Did you notice that, or was that just?
No, he did. I noticed it. I just tried. And when they included the older brother for no reason in that back and forth, the bickering, that was also comical that I hated. I checked out.
Okay, I was just curious. I was kind of like, okay, this is supposed to be taking place before that film. I don't think he should look. Okay, I'm just gonna get over that one because I don't want to make it sound like I'm making a certain statement body wise, but it's just it did throw me time wise. But yeah, as far as I think the issue is for me, like, I don't understand how any of that really did much. I understand what they were trying to do with it, but I don't get how it really developed Furiosa at all, and it goes against her goal in the end. And then, well, what's funny is you sent me that message on Instagram, but you were like, "What is this?" And I was just like a mess. Like, I don't understand. And again, and there comes that whole tonal issue again.
Yes.
Mad Max, even, you know, whether people love it or hate it, it had a very grounded, very serious, in-your-face tone. And there were times where they were quirky, like with the dude on the guitar, and they have moments where they're being silly, but it was very, it packed a real punch. And my frustration with moments like that is that it really took away. Now, what I do know about, I don't know the name of the character, but I do know that the little person, I know that's based on someone who, you know, was bullied and there was this went viral and all that. And so he was included in the film as a result of that, but which I'm not mad at, but not knowing any of that or not thinking about any of that at the time. There were just a lot of distracting moments.
They did.
Characters, and it just threw me. I understand that because she has other obligations. Anya Taylor-Joy, I guess, couldn't shave her head, but it was given to
the wig. The wig.
Really.
Yeah, that was like just this became a weird like
helmet.
Bad fro, man. Like no, it's like right. It's like wait, what's going on?
I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I love her with a passion, and that's supposed to be for. Do we have to call her for everything? Was there nobody else available? The teeny Furiosa. Now look here.
Really quick, can you go back to that one slide before?
Oh, go ahead.
So you know, you bring up a good point, like, you know, with the little dude, whatever, you know, a lot of these just bad characters, distracting characters. The chick with the face, that's Elsa Pataski, I believe. That's Hemsworth's wife.
Yeah,
she played 2 roles in the film.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you know, maybe that's where the money went. They're just like, you want to do another role? Okay, you know, let's write some more garbage for this film. You know, I mean, her role, she became super boss because she had to do she had to kill 3 other dudes just so they could survive. It's like, you know, all right, whoever wins. The guy that was about to win, like, basically won, but then she pulls like a smart one on him, and her face is all grilled by then. That was all right, but I'm like, what is this? What am I watching?
I didn't care. I did not care. Yeah, all of this, the wig, the look of the war boys, even though the white on them, it was just all off. I didn't like it. They looked cheap. Something happened. Something happened. Back to Anya Taylor. I put teeny Furiosa. I just wish they would have got someone else. And I love Anya Taylor-Joy, but I do not believe this was the role for her. I would have preferred to see someone else for the weight she's supposed to carry here, mentally, physically, emotionally, just period, mostly physically. she was so teeny. Just the visual of her standing over Dementis, or it just I hated it. Okay. I gotta stop saying that. Of course, she went from being a bargaining chip to hiding out as a boy. The transition was underexplained and not believable. Yes, once we got to this, and I know, with good writing, we don't really have to over explain anything, but the transition into her hiding out and eventually kind of coming out and being just the woman, like the fact that nobody ever made the connection to, hey, could this maybe be the little girl that we thought we lost and never mentioned again, that we bargained for and gave whole gas town and all these other things. Like, a lot was giving up, to get her, and she is one of the few women or young girls who's supposed to be pure and untouched and from the green place, and somebody who could maybe potentially give Joe a son without a defect. You would think she would be earth-shattering important to where he would knock down walls to search for her. We didn't get that. So when we transition here into her being, even just her disguise as a boy, she still looked extremely feminine. She looked extremely feminine, just her face, the bone structure. I would have maybe preferred someone else in this role, not, someone who's capable of acting, but who could physically meet the standard of, like, oh, I could understand why they would. I'm just not interested in just throwing away all disbelief that we just all collectively assume that, oh, she looks like a boy. She did not. She looked like a woman through and through. And I kept waiting for the moment for somebody to go, hey, like, or somebody to connect it, and there be this big, like, oh my God, or there was no repercussion for her running away and hiding out and getting to the point where she was, in charge of the oil rig or any of that. Like, there was nothing. I thought it was going to be this big explosion of, oh my God. And Immortan Joe was going to have some type. It was like, no, he instantly accepted that she was Furiosa, and that was it. B, please explain this, because you love this.
I thought the transition was seamless. I could barely tell.
Yeah.
When she was hiding under that pipe and her hair was on the tree or the mountain, and it showed it grow. I was like, oh, okay, I like this right here. Yeah, come on back. Yeah, come on. Let's see your face.
Why are you doing this, B?
I'm being honest with you. I did enjoy Anya Taylor-Joy in The Queen's Gambit, and I enjoyed her in this as much or even more. I thought she knocked this out the park. I said it earlier, when she was either quiet or she was given verbal lines, she sold it for me. You do make a good point as far as the War Boys and Immortus Joe not looking for her, or an explosion going off, like, hey, what happened to this little girl? But at the same time, Tyra, these are idiots. These are morons. These are men that would jump from the cliff into a blaze of a fireball, just because of their loyalty. So they have a few screws loose.
I could see that, B. I could see that, but Immortan Joe is far from an idiot.
I'm talking about the War Boys. Immortan Joe, I won't say is an idiot, but the War Boys, they got some screws loose. If you ask me. But for you just to say, you feel how you feel, but for you just to say, I wish somebody else, they could have got somebody else. It sounds like you're sick of seeing her pop up and stuff. Like, she is in every film or TV show, and to me, I she's not, unless I've just been missing all the marketing with her across Hollywood. But I liked her. I thought she did a great job.
So Tyra, I think what Brandon is wanting to know is, there even in its smallest increment, even the tiniest iota, is any of this coming from a place of just genuine hater? Is it just like
on Anya?
Yes, I think that's the undercurrent I'm getting here.
I love Anya. I love her as an actor. I think she's a phenomenal actress. I can't wait to see what she does next. I love her. I didn't love her here. I didn't think she fit this role at all.
I just thought I would ask.
But no, I love her. I loved her. But even when I saw, her in the trailer or just the choice, I was like, huh, that's a choice. But I'll wait to see her performance and what they do with the role and executing it. It just was her acting. Her acting is always, this just wasn't the role for her, in my opinion. It wasn't.
But you like Charlize Theron in the role?
She was amazing.
Okay.
Perfect. Just perfect casting. Not this.
Okay.
You bring up a couple good points here, right? Because I'm pretty good at disbelief, like whether it's a little dude or a little girl taking down a big dude in a fight. If it's fun, I don't care. I'm not, But if you're making men look like idiots or whatever, and I'm not talking about this film, I'm just talking about in general. I don't like. For the sake of the female character, I think that's I didn't get that here. I do love Anya.
Yes.
The problem is that you're recasting it, and we have Charlize in our head because she was incredible in Fury Road. So I get it, but who would you cast? Out there,
I'm trying to think. I can't think of her name, but who is the lead actress in Midsommar?
Oh, Florence Pugh.
Oh God.
Oh, Florence Pugh.
I could see Florence.
And she's an
Pugh.
Aussie.
She is. Yeah, she is.
Ooh, that is a fantastic idea.
I can't think.
Yeah,
of
I don't think of Anya as an athletic. That was also another problem with these models in Fury Road that I had. I was like, but I get it. Okay, they're getting out of their shell. But yeah, Anya would have just been, in reality, man, what am I saying, dude? This is a silly movie. This is the least of my worries. Sure, Florence Pugh would have been great, but this movie sucked. Stop it.
Polly keeps.
I'm convinced also. Hey, I'm convinced Brandon saw a different film, by the way.
Man.
This was the one. This was the one, Polly, and we have to accept that he loved it. I'm happy he loved it. I wish I could have that same shared experience. Dane C, thank you so God. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Brandon and Polly are going Mad Max on the panel.
This is not a Mad Max film. This is not a Mad Max film. I'm good.
I agree. It wasn't marketed that way either, in my opinion. But okay,
so. Mad Max Saga.
Come on, it was marketed
that name out.
Furiosa movie, and I feel that's what we got. It was that it's just in the Mad Max world, So
something about this just gave me like franchise cash grab.
It's not. It wasn't trying to be a Mad Max film.
Brandon, you haven't seen The Road Warrior, okay? This is a rip. This is a direct George Miller. I'm going to rip off from my own film, The Road Warrior.
I agree with you guys. This is not a Mad Max.
That's why I was upset at the end of this film when I saw it. That's why. And anyways, sorry. I don't want to upset Dean.
Shout out to the 100 Shout out to the 118 people here in this live. We are appreciating it. Once again, keep on hitting that like button. Keep on engaging, growing those comments, sending those super chats, and liking and showing support on every single person's platform that is on this panel. D, how did you feel about Anya in this role?
So what this gave me, because, I didn't think anything of it. Sometimes people are cast and you don't think anything of it. Like when Emma Watson was cast for Beauty and the Beast, so I was like, oh, Hermione, Harry Potter makes sense. So, and the same thing, I've seen other examples of that, but then you actually watch and it's like, I wasn't really paying attention. So same thing with Tomb Raider. We go from Angelina Jolie to Alicia Vikander. And it's like watching Tomb Raider, I was just like, I feel like I'm watching like a teenager play dress up as Lara Croft. Like, I'll take two. At the end with the guns, I was like, no.
Is that any good, that film?
It's not horrible, but to me, it's not Lara Croft. It's not Tomb Raider to me. And I understand they were trying to do some kind of origin story. Alicia Vikander, to me, I think she works in like period piece, roles, and I've enjoyed her in costume dramas and things like that. But as far as like Lara Croft is a character that has edge, has grit, and Alicia Vikander, nothing about her as an actress reflects that. So for me, it's just a disjointed kind of film. Not bad. I don't think you'll be upset if you watch it, but it's just like you can't watch Angelina Jolie and then watch her in that. And
just like you can't watch Charlize and then come here and watch Anya. You just can't.
And it was one of those things where when it came down to it, it was like, oh, I can maybe think, okay, I can see. And then when we watched it, I was like, okay, so now I'm seeing the flaws here. Now, personally, I could have seen someone like Jodie Comer or Mackenzie Davis as this character. I think it would have been too good, two other solid options for the role. And like I said, you can be, and it doesn't take away from someone's acting ability because you can be the best actor ever. But it still doesn't mean this is the role that you necessarily need to play. Yeah, I just think there were better actresses that could have, sold it and kind of, sunk, kind of slipped into this character in a way that felt a lot more connected to the portrayal we got from Charlize. I did think that after a while. I was like, I understand where you're going for, but it's not hitting for me.
Paula, you're about to say something?
No, man. Like, why am I going to keep fan casting? I mean, it's like my head's going to explode with this movie. This movie cost way too much money.
I expected to go and look at the budget and see that it didn't have as big of a budget as Fury Road, but it's the same. It's the same. I just needed more to go off of with the runtime. Like they just should have. So many decisions could have been made. The mother motivation was enough. Tom Burke asked Jake was a great idea. Then they fall in love. I prefer my Furiosa asexual. I didn't need this. I didn't need this. I was really excited when I saw Tom Burke. I was like, okay, all right, I can get her for this. I set up. I was excited to see, because as soon as you see the black war paint on the forehead, you're like, okay, I know what we're getting at. He, is clearly here to teach her the tricks of the trade of the war wig and all those other things. Or just maybe give some more of that Max energy without being Max. I thought he was going to serve a higher purpose. I did not care for the love aspect here. If they weren't going to really follow through with it and leave it kind of underdeveloped, I think Paulie said early on, like, could they not kiss? Could they not? The best thing we got from this was the action scene when they do attempt to run away in the whole standoff with Dementis. But it just felt like it was latched on as, I feel like, it's not enough motivation for, Dementis killing the mother. He also, took out the lover. This is, just to really create this tortured character within Furiosa. And I also saw that Yaya was supposed to portray this role. I would love to know how you guys would have felt about him in this role instead, or would it have made, any bit of a difference for you? Do you feel like it would have been a different outcome or, whatever? But I like the idea. It did make you perk up. It was one of the things I liked about the film, but I did not care for them falling in love with, Furiosa's mind state, especially who we meet in the film. It just kind of felt a little jarring. And then when we don't have them interact like in a loving manner or be affectionate or at least kiss, just give me one kiss or just something. It just felt like, I could have done without it. It kind of undermined Tom Burke for me and what he was supposed to be to her. It was really giving mentor. And then it kind of was like, oh, this is that. I don't see that. D, I'm going to come to you first.
No love, just vibes. That's what this was. So the thing is, you know what? It's so funny. It just hit me. So was this given like Romeo Must Die relationship vibes for you?
Oh, definitely. Okay. Like it just, and even there, I was more invested in Jet Li and Alyla than I was here. I was not invested at all. He just should have been the mentor or his death could have hit as equally hard without the love there. So I just didn't understand why that was necessary.
Right. I was gonna say the only thing, and you have to help me out and let me know if I'm wrong or not. The only thing I worry about, and this shouldn't be the case, I'm just wondering with Yaya, if the optics of the film with that character then would have been questionable. And I'll only say this because you kind of gave me the business for my thoughts on Last Night in Soho, which also starred Taylor Joy. And you just felt the way the Black character was handled within that story and the way he kept floating around and kept subjecting himself to the ultimate BS for this woman. His character persuasion, you just thought that was questionable. So I would just also throw that back in and say, like, especially when we get down to the part with the dogs and dragging behind the car, I'm like,
Lord.
It would have. I just feel like it probably would have taken on a different context,
racial context. Okay, yeah, I could see that. B.
I did not know that Yaya was. Where you going, Tyra? I did not know that Yaya was up for this role, but I'm glad.
He had it be. It was just something with the production. I don't know if it has something to do with just COVID or just think something conflicted with him pursuing the role for it, but he officially had the role and was supposed to be in the movie.
I'm glad
Tom Burke was a last minute replacement.
I'm glad that it didn't work out because that would have been jarring as hell to me. Not even a race thing. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that would have been weird for me. I'm just being honest, but they don't even look like they would be attracted to each other. Even, it just been like, what? It looks like, they would have he would have been like a brother sister type of relationship. And so if I would have seen getting romantic, I probably would have threw up in my popcorn bucket.
Oh my God.
Who is this actor? What's his name?
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Yeah.
Now, so I agree. I'm glad that it didn't work out with Yahya. Now, Tara, as far as I feel the movie man's, the vibes, no love, because I thought that was one of the most natural relationships in this entire movie. To be honest with you, and guys, have y'all ever been attracted to somebody and you wanted to jump on the opportunity, but you knew it would not have been in your best interest to do so because it could ruin the relationship? That is why they didn't kiss in this film. Because to me, the way I saw it is, it wasn't rushed or forced or shoehorned in. They fell in love or vibes after that 15-minute action scene. They were the only two that survived. It was just them. Furiosa was going to go back to the she put the gun to his head and was like, pull the truck over, I'm going to take over the car, the truck, and go back to the green people or the green place or the green ladies. And I've been wanting to get away for this whole time. I now have a chance. I'm sorry, bro, but I'm out. At that point in time, to me, she realized, wait a minute, I'm out here by myself in this wasteland. This guy right here is my only chance for survival. He's good. He's not a creep. I would have a better chance of surviving if we stick together. And that's exactly what they did. And when they tried to go meet Dementis at his whatever establishment he had, where they pretty much killed everybody. She felt remorseful for leaving, and them saving each other's lives, fighting for their lives in that scene were just a nail in the coffin. Just like, man, I F with this dude, I F with this chick. You know what I'm saying? We need to stay together, ride or die. You know what I'm saying? It was just natural, I'm glad that they didn't kiss. It's just, I mean, they were attracted to each other, but couldn't help it. The image you have on the top left right there, that is the perfect visual representation of the relationship. It out of the park, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I would have been disappointed if they showed them smash something like that. So I enjoyed it. We did not see his character in Fury Road, so it made sense for him to die here. I mean, yeah, they were kind of like the Speed movie with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. They only fell in love because they were in that situation. But in Speed 2 Cruise Control, they actually had a line of dialogue like, okay, some people just fall in love or in strong like or have the vibes because they're in a life or death situation. Same thing here. I thought it was great.
Polly?
Yes. Look, yes. How can I help?
How do you feel about the romance? You know, how were you here for it? Did you care? Did you care when they got separated? When they didn't make it out and live their best life? When he was killed and dragged? Their love? Something, Paul. What'd you think?
Yeah, like I said, I think this is the only chapter that I was kind of invested in. I thought the relationship was interesting, and I liked so interesting enough for me that when they were in Pearl, I was like, oh wow, this is good. That was actually the best in Pearl, action sequence for me.
Yes, it was.
It was, in the escape, that was all very satisfying. And of course, they don't escape, but I thought that was really good. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm gonna beat a dead horse here. This is Mad Max. What the F? That's Max.
Yeah.
That's Max.
Yeah.
Let Max come in and help save the day.
I thought it was Max. That wasn't Max. I when I saw him, I said, "Oh, this is our Max." This wasn't Max.
But like, why have another iteration of a Max? I mean, it was frustrating. And as far as Yaya, I've seen his other work. Guy's a really great presence. That would have been weird.
Yeah,
just because him playing off of Anya, I don't know if it would have worked. I don't know if it would have worked. Well, what do I know? What do I know? He's a good actor. Would have been interesting. I mean, just as far, but you yeah.
I love how defeated you are. Like,
well, because it's like, all right, it's like, okay, Mike, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to insert like a brother in there?
That's what I thought.
Insert,
he would be the Max, maybe I thought it would be more of a mentor, and she's really losing that presence of something she connected to. I just felt like they could have had what they had without the romantic aspect. It lost me when they did that. Brandon is gonna make Tara pop a blood vessel. He is, Dane. He is trying so hard to make me pop a blood vessel here. Thank you so much, Dave, for the $2 super chat.
But
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh man,
this was again. That was like whether or not they should have kissed or not. It's the least. It's the least troubles of this film, man. This film was hot garbage, guys. Do not see this film. How about that? How about that? Go see The Road Warrior. You know what? People in my chat, the Slantinos have asked, make Brandon go and see the other Mad Max films and then come on to the Latino Slant. So why don't we just do that and have the panel? We'll do that.
Sadly, I know B will see the 3 of those films and his opinion is not going to change on Furiosa. He's still going to
no, not to change Furiosa, but to talk about those films after. Yeah. Because D Movie Man's seen them all right now at this point.
Yes, but also it would be nice to revisit given how it's got shadowed. So I'd be down for that.
Let's do that.
I really didn't care for that wasteful, that little cameo, that little shot. I was like, why y'all put that there? we didn't need that. There's a brief moment. I'm like, is that Max up there? They added so many like continuity questions when they had that little visual of Max just lurking over as the situation with Furiosa. I was like, what? I was like, okay, how old is Max? What that even, that's not a question. Just with the Fury Road, there's always been a question of, well, shouldn't Max be such and such old? But we have to disconnect that. But even in this element, Max will be a little older. I didn't like the cameo and the questions that were brought up with it, and I thought it was just really like, I thought it was trash. I didn't like it. Losing the arm, that whole scene with her losing the arm, and because I think that's another thing that a lot of people were waiting on. Like, well, when does she lose her arm? I didn't mind it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see her, struggling, or her really, detaching it. Or I wanted a little gore. I wanted some carnage. I'm sorry. I did want to see it. Or just to really get into the length she was going through to escape. I did think that was, good. I did not care for the montage of her making the appendage to, use as an arm. That was just kind of, it was rushed. I didn't care for that, but I did really want to see the impact of her her, you know, losing her arm in that way. I wish we could have saw it. Briefly, B, how did you feel about the cameo, and how did you feel about the scene of her losing her arm?
Her losing the arm was cool. I don't remember if there was a scene in the movie at all about how she built it or who built it.
No,
I just don't remember.
Working on it.
Yeah, I mean it was cool. The Max cameo. I don't know what you're talking about. Or
there's a brief moment where we have I couldn't find the exact clip of it, but it's pretty much the same stance. He's, you know, the car's there, and it was.
Well, that's not the clip, right?
This is not the image. This is from Fury Road, but it was the exact same shot.
The shot is actually from Road Warrior.
Okay.
Okay, the POV. Yeah. Right, and because help me out, chat. Syfax, that shot I believe was from Road Warrior, and he's eating out of a can, looking over because he's on a high plateau, looking down as Anya is walking back all busted up. Back to Citadel, and then there's this quick just quick cameo, and it's just over his back like this. This is the beginning of Fury Road, though. Yeah, what you have up here. Yes. So you know, it immediately I went into my Mad Max timeline. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, this is Road Warrior time. So Furiosa is a young Furiosa. So then they would meet up later in Fury Road 10 years later. That might make sense. And yeah, my people are saying yes, Mad Max too. He's watching eating dog food in Mad Max. So yeah, he's eating out of a dog can. Okay.
D.
So yeah, this, and I guess maybe you can provide an explanation for it. It kind of reminds me how with X-Men Origins, you know, I'm good for a reference, but it reminds me in the trailer for X-Men Origins Wolverine, they have a shot of young Aurora / Storm. And then later in the film, you don't see it because I guess the filmmakers realize, you mean to tell me Storm wouldn't all of a sudden doesn't remember this tall guy with metal claws busting in through her tribe with a bunch of other mutants? So they figured they kind of painted themselves into a corner with that, and it didn't make sense. And so to me, I had the same question. I was just like, so what is the timeline here? I don't, and the thing is, I can't quite remember because I know it was like I said, the shot was basically the same, but I almost remember thinking when I was watching it, I'd have to probably rewatch it to see if I'm right or not. But it almost seemed like, maybe not, but it almost seemed like she was visible enough at that point for him to, I don't know, maybe not, but it seems like she might have been visible enough for him to possibly remember her. And so there's like a little bit of a logistical issue there, which I thought was weird. And if that's not, okay, let's just say hypothetically, he wouldn't remember her. It's just like, then that means you're just throwing something just to have a, hey, look.
Remember that? It was a hey, look.
Yeah, and then when you do that, sometimes I listen. I'm a sucker for an Easter egg here and there, but sometimes it's literally done for the sake of fan service. And I know that's a word that gets used a lot, but sometimes it's like, just have some restraint, leave it to a reference or two, you know, tie in how you want. But this is when I realized they were going OD because I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. It's like if you do a story about a prequel to The Wizard of Oz, and it's just like, oh look, there's a rusted piece of metal. Oh look, there's a cornfield. Oh my gosh, there's a zoo with lions type. Like, we don't need to point towards everything that's going to happen in the future. So that to me was kind of goofy. And unfortunately, like the arm is when I really realized that the impact and the way that they were doing it was just very, ironically enough, was very robotic. It was just like, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, because it's just like, it doesn't even feel like a real genuine, this is how we got to this point. It just kind of felt like, oh, now she's shaving her head, and oh, now here's the part with the arm, and oh, she just found this piece, and now she's putting it. There was no, I don't know, there was no tension, there was no sense of like, wow, this is the moment. It just felt like, okay, we need to hurry up and get her to the point to where, to where she looks like this.
She uses his arm and she looked like, yeah, it was, I think it could have want that pacing issue with the time we had. I think that's the issue. You're expecting things to happen a little sooner or consistently than they actually do here. Let's see, $4.99. I think this is somebody who loved the film Wild Man Beyond. Disappointed by Furiosa. Check out this new Mad Max fan film called Hope and Glory. I've heard about this fan film. I'm definitely going to check it out. Check it out.
I just got the link up, so I'm like, okay, I'll give it a watch. It can't be any worse than Furiosa.
B, I thought you had a supporter. No, he just trying to like, if y'all ain't like that, go watch the fan film. I really thought B had a supporter. Thank you so much, Rod Thunderheart, for the $10 super chat. Let's see. Hail Polly. Polly, go ahead with this. Go ahead.
Hail Polly. See-through plug. A Spanish teacher who can become invisible, but when aroused, it happens uncontrollably. She is shocked to see new gym teacher is blind, but can see her. Find at Friesen Press. Okay, so what he's talking about, if you want to put me really quickly, is his wonderful book that I have that he sent me. It's called See Through Love, and it's actually really good. And as you can see, my bookmark, I'm almost done. And yes, the main female character, she's got this power to where when she she gets too excited, she goes invisible. And it's like a cool invisible girl meets espionage, romance. So Rod Thunderheart independently wrote this book. So thank you for the $10, my brother. There you go.
Thank you. Oh, I didn't know he was gonna be doing no promotional events. You should have told me.
Well, no, I know. No, but thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. In our
for the book.
Yeah, I still owe him a review. So that's coming up, Rod. That's coming up
on the book.
Yeah, I'm gonna review the book after I finish reading it. I'm gonna review it and have him on. Absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
We gotta support.
Most definitely. Just closing it out and getting to the ending, becoming the infamous Furiosa, war, revenge, and planting a seed. As I stated, I really like Dementis' monologue in the end. I really didn't like how everything came together in the end. Everything just didn't gel together cohesively. Trying to think what I liked outside of even just the full-on transformation of her turning into Furiosa. I would have loved to not be distracted by that wig, but I was trying. It was there and it was in my face. I was a little disjointed with the ending, with her, going back for the women in the green place. As I stated, I would have hoped that, because from the Furiosa we met until that very moment, it was just like, I'm out here open and free. I have a car. I'm going back to the green place. Or just, even trying even harder to go back to the green place. But from my understanding, the arm that was severed, that's what had the map on it for her to get home anyway, correct? So I wanted a little bit more with that. But the tree, or just the multiple endings of what maybe could have happened with Dementis, and then we get the infinite situation with the tree going out of the stomach and planting the seed. That was a choice. that was a choice. But outside of Dementis' overall monologue and the connection that he was trying to have with Furiosa, I was hoping that prior to that very moment, I kept waiting for this is the moment where he's going to recognize her. It never came up, but that's okay. Brandon, how did you feel about the ending of this film?
That was my only really complaint is that they could have drawn it out more. It did seem a bit rushed. I mean, the monologue was cool, and I do like that we did get the multiple perspectives of what could have happened to Dementis. Because at first I was a little bummed out, like, wait a minute, you just shot him? No, let this dude suffer. So seeing the tree grow out of him was very weird. But they could have drawn it out a little bit more. I do feel like the third act was rushed in some aspects.
D?
Yeah, I think just by the time we got to the end, it was definitely given like, okay, we gotta hurry up and tie this into the Fury Road. Let's go, let's go, let's go, wrap it up, wrap it up. And I guess I guess you could argue it. I'll give it is that the death, if that is indeed what we're supposed to walk away with, I did like kind of the multiple, like some say it was this, some say it was this, like when it comes to folklore and stories that get passed along, I did like that. And let's just say hypothetically it is the tree, then I guess I'll give it that it's an original death.
It very, very much so. I'm never going to forget that ever in my life.
Right.
Polly? You're muted, Polly.
Yes.
Any positives for the ending? How did you feel about it?
We don't need another Furiosa. We don't need to know her origin story. Jesus. Sorry, guys. I tried. Entertainment here. Listen, it goes back to what I said earlier. Horrible storytelling. You rush, when you have to rush through stuff, that just tells you there's no cohesive story. And then, and you like you said, the 40-day war or the end, that one-on-one with them, with homeboy, with nose guy and Furiosa Hemsworth. Yeah. That was actually really good, but I'm like, I had to wait over 2 hours for this.
It was.
Cut the fat, man. Miller was just too much Miller. Too much Miller.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but it really was.
Closing it off here before we get out of here. I would love to hear you guys' perspective on just the future of the franchise. I know for myself, I think everybody would love for, Mad Max and Mel Gibson to collide once again. I would be here for that. I think that would be legendary. I would love to get more perspective on these villains. I walked away from this film like, oh, damn, I really wish we had, a prequel Immortan Joe Demented situation. I would be here for that. I would love to know their backstory, or how did we get here? Because they're so tortured, or just how even Immortan Joe rose to power to even rule and have dominion over the Citadel. Like I would be here for that if they really just wanted to expand and milk this universe for all it's worth. But I would like to stay as far away from Furiosa as possible. D.
Yeah. I love, someone had mentioned in the chat, but I love the idea that someone had mentioned that this could easily tie into the Road Warrior. As far as I am blanking, the young guy, the little kid in Road Warrior. But basically the idea that this is not really Mad Max, or this is some variation. He's kind of taken on the moniker of that, possibly, and that he's following in his footsteps, and that the real Mad Max is still out there. I think that would be a really cool way to kind of bring things full circle. I'm not discounting the whole issues of Mel Gibson, but Mel Gibson has been in the Continental series, among other things. So clearly they don't seem to have an issue casting him in some things. So I'm not saying it's whether it's right or wrong, but if he's already been in stuff, then it wouldn't be a reach at this point to, reincorporate him back to the story, because he is the Mad Max and the one who started it all.
Yes. B?
I personally don't care to see more Mel Gibson for the reasons you just named, the movie man. I did see the Continental, and he did a great job. I'm not gonna say that he's not talented, but I wouldn't vote for it personally. But as far as just the whole franchise of Saga, I do want to see more. I do agree with you, Tyra. I would like to see more of Dementus, more of Immortus Joe. I would like to see even another prequel before Furiosa of the Green Place, because that is one criticism that you had that I do agree with. At the very beginning, we could have got more of the mother, and why it was so important to that area, and how and ducked off from everybody else, so hidden. You know,
Yeah.
that would be very, very interesting. So I don't think we will get more sequels because this is doing crappy at the box office. Nobody wanted to see this. Unfortunately, it's only at 69 million worldwide, and that's awful. So we may not get any more unless they just literally chop the budget in half, maybe even more than that. So that really sucks because Fury Road made 380 worldwide. Well, it had a 150 budget, but so that did okay. But I do want to see more. I don't think we will though.
Oh, that's unfortunate. See how Furiosa mess up stuff, Polly.
Let it die. Prequels, sequels are lazy storytelling. It's a cash grab. It ultimately tarnishes the 3 Mad Max movies. They're not perfect, but they were feats for their time, like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. These trilogies, even the Harry Potters. This is grand filmmaking. And I love George Miller, man. He swung for the fences on this one. He knocked it out with Fury Road, not with this one, in my opinion. And but listen, it's gonna die because, like what Brandon said, it's not making any money. And at the end of the day, these studios, you got to open up the ledger. What did it make? Okay, no, even if it made some money, Fury Road was you got to remember, Fury Road was also a huge Academy success, award season success. That's why he got this budget. So let it die for a while. If you're gonna revitalize it, maybe in 5-10 years, have a villain origin story, that would be cool. I would love to see Humongous' story. Humongous is like the most incredible of the villains for me. And so mysterious, so strange, but yet he had. See, again, that storytelling, man. Brandon, you got to go see. I know it's Mel Gibson. Listen. I get it, man. I get it. But go see Road Warrior, and you see how they dealt with backstory, and the subtext is everything. So it's Miller storytelling was on point, and so yeah, I that's what I would say, and I don't want to see any more Mad Max anymore. Gonna be Max.
Thank you so much, Polly, and thank you guys so much for hanging with us for the time being. You guys have been amazing and have sent a plethora of super chats on all platforms. I would like to thank you guys one more time, and then we are going to get out of here. I will be right back.
Percocet, Miley Percocet, Miley Percocet, rep the set, gotta rep the set, gang, chase a chick, never chase a chick, no mask on, mask on, mask on, mask on, Percocet, Miley Percocet, chase a chick, never chase a chick, no 2 cups, toast out with the gang, from food stamps to a whole nother domain, out the bobby, I'm a living proof, so they compromising $500,000 on the coupe, gang, drug houses, looking like Peru, graduated, I was overdue, I'm a pink Miley, I can barely move, ask about me, I'm gonna bust a move, yeah, yo, Percocet, Miley Percocet, Miley Percocet, rep the set, yeah, gotta rep.
Oh, so fun, so good. I'm gonna go watch Fury Road when we get out of here. But B, I am most definitely gonna come to you first because you always have a plethora of things going on. Please tell everybody here what you're doing on your channel, what's coming up, and where they can find you.
Thanks for having me, Tyra. Also, nice meeting you, D Movie Man, and the Latino Slant. Great video, great panel. I'm glad I was able to join you guys. But I'm B. Avery, Brandon Keith Avery with Just My Opinion Reviews. You can find me here on YouTube, Just My Opinion Reviews, or on social media at Just My Opinion 84. I do a little bit of everything. Last night I had a super duper episode number 50. It's where every Thursday I talk nothing but superhero and comic book news.
Nice.
This coming Sunday is Movie News Roundup Show 129, where I talk about all of the latest streaming and movie news in the entertainment industry. Sometimes I do trailer reactions, react to random videos. I'll also be checking. My next review will be Bad Boys 4, Bad Boys Ride or Die. I'm going to check that out Monday. And so I'm trying to give you guys a out of theater reaction and my review for that next week. I will also be covering Star Wars Acolyte. I just got some screenings for that today. And so I'm going to go to the grocery store now. And when I get back home and put them away, I'm going to start on that. So that'll be coming out next week. And
reason.
What else? I think that's pretty much it. I got to give you guys my entire Blu-ray collection since I hit 50,000 subscribers. And so give me a few weeks to, schedule that into my plans. And that's just a few things you guys can look forward to. So subscribe. I would love to have you.
Thank you so much for that. All I see is Blade film is Doom. Like, oh man. I'm so tired of that. Polly, I'm going to come to you next to tell the people. Once again, you guys, please go over there and support B. I will leave the link for everybody's channel below. Y'all should already know him, but get over there if you haven't already. Polly with the Latino Slant, please let the people know what you have going on and where they can find you.
Yeah, well, really quick, we did a poll in our Latino Slant stream. Your favorite Mad Max villain. Humongous and Wheeze won with 39%, Tina Turner 27%, Morton Joe 18%, Toe Cutter 13%. So thank you guys, all you guys, for voting. My channel, I cover everything. I cover a lot. So if you first time checking me out, and come on over to the Slant. We do everything from movie reviews, festival reviews, video, and articles at thelatinoslant.com. Also, too, I'll touch upon certain cultural issues, social issues, but not all the time. And as you can see right there, I talk about inflated Hollywood prices. I talk about the obesity and alcoholism problem that's going on in our society with that Lizzo. You gotta scroll on down. There's that Lizzo one. I have some very choice words there. But, we cover like a lot and we have a lot of fun. So get on over to the Slant. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Polly.
Thanks for putting it up.
Of course. Yeah, go support Polly. Polly's amazing. Polly covers everything. And I just love the fact that I can go over there to Polly and get into the Latino filmmaking and hear about films. I have watched so many films via your channel that I would have never known about if I was not subscribed to you. So go and support Polly, please. Last but not least, D Movie Man with the plethora of interesting stuff. D, tell the people what you are doing next and where they can find you.
Yes. Hey, everyone. And this is D Movie Man, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. If you are not familiar with that phrase, that is my general tagline for all my videos. I love discussing all things film. And for me, I love discussing it from a personal perspective where I'm delving into, specific moments, my life, people, places, and times, and how it goes beyond the screen and how it has impacted me as a person and in my life in general. And along with that, I do the occasional trailer reactions. I don't just react, but I give a little breakdown as far as, the background on the cast, director, and so on and so forth. I also do the occasional recap series involving series like Bridgerton, The Gilded Age, any show you can think of. But I am somewhat choosy about those. But yes, please feel free to check me out. I recently started a series called Take 6, where because I am quite the blabbermouth and my videos can run the gambit as far as length, I figured I would challenge myself to, kind of summarize and bring all my thoughts together in 6 minutes. I've started that. I also had the opportunity to cross off something on my bucket list, which is seeing the Sundance Film Festival in person, visiting. That was an awesome experience. I have 2 videos of
Hold on, something.
I was like, was it my ear?
Nah, I think it was something. Something went mute on your Andy.
You're still muted.
I don't know what happened.
Check your setting. Actually, it's not your muted. I think something disconnected because his mute sign is not on there. Can you see?
Yeah, it's not. I don't see it on.
Check your setting, but you're.
You got now?
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what that was about.
What did you do?
But yeah, last thing I think I was saying was I had the opportunity to take a little trip down south, visit the Atlanta Film Festival for the first time as accredited press. Had some thoughts on the films I saw there, like The Idea of You, Thelma, and the upcoming Sing Sing. And last but not least, I shared my thoughts on the upcoming film Wicked that I'm very excited for, having seen the musical on the stage, as well as my thoughts on the very questionable season of Bridgerton that has just premiered. So yes, please feel free to support. Please feel free to check me out. I am just very thankful to be on this journey. I'm thankful for all the people. And I am thankful to Tyra for being the plug, for introducing me to some people on this platform. It means a lot, and this journey would definitely not be the same without these people like Tyra and the community in general. So yes.
Oh, thank you, Dee. Thank you. I'm gonna keep mine short, y'all. Y'all already know. Y'all gonna see me when y'all see me. I'm gonna be where I'm at. Every Tuesday, maybe more so Wednesday this week, with the turnout that we had this Wednesday for Interview with the Vampire, me and 2 other beautiful ladies. I'll have a guest, another guest for that for next week. But I go live every Tuesday or Wednesday to discuss Interview with a Vampire at 6 p.m. CST time. So be on the lookout for that. I have reviews coming up for the Book of Eli, and I also have a review coming up for Ray. So be looking for that, because it's going to be a hot mess, especially Ray, because it's going to be very, very, very interesting. So be on the lookout for all of those things. And we appreciate you guys so much for supporting us in this almost 3-hour live. I did not know that it would go on for this long. And I just appreciate you guys for hanging in there this entire time. Anything else, fellas, before we get out of here?
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. We will definitely see you next time if all these lovely men agree to come back one day. We'll be nice next time, B. I promise. I promise. Good night, everybody.